Hi everyone, as you all know, I'm Sneha and this is one of the workshops come masterclass wherein I will be telling you about what was my experience in relationships, and I hope you will be able to connect with some of the parts. So often when the word relationship comes up, the first thing in our mind is the relationship we share with our romantic partners, our spouses. And just like each relationship, this relationship also starts with so much love, so much trust. Even though you are in an arranged marriage setup and you don't know the person beforehand, but still there is an unknown trust in there is which even though you have not talked to this person a lot, like mine was an arranged marriage and our courtship was of hardly 3 months, and I belong to a very conservative family wherein talking to your fiancé was not encouraged. Moreover, we were in different time zones. He used to work in Canadian market, so his time zones were as per US timings, and I was in India and I was a student at that point of time. I was just finishing off my master's while I was engaged. So, because of the difference in time zones, we were hardly able to connect with each other, to contact each other. And then there was a lot of restrictions from our family side. So, in essence, I didn't know whom I was marrying. I really don't know who was the person was. And suddenly, hi Kamna.
Hi, Sneha.
So we have just started off, and I was just telling what exactly relationships mean. So whenever we think about relationship, the first word or the first person which comes to our mind is often our romantic partners or our spouses. And even though when we have not known the person, there is we start the relationship with a level of trust, with a level of love, which cannot be described. Like people say that relationships build up when with time we start loving each other, we start trusting each other over a period of time. But somehow this didn't happen in case of me. It was like I started this relationship with love and trust, which even I could not understand what it was. And then when I got into my relationship as a married girl, a young girl who was just married, and then the only way I knew how to nurture a relationship, I did it all. So, in my definition of love, it was taking care of his family, taking care of everyone in the family, ensuring that all their needs are met, and just giving and giving and giving. Because somewhere I had this template that the more I give, the more I will be loved. And I kept on giving and giving and giving. While, in essence, you might say that I was giving without expectation, or I was just in love. But the truth is, I did expect it. I did expected the other person to love me back. If not in all the manners which I have loved him, if not in all the manners in which I have shown him my love, at least in a way where I would be loved, where even he would do few things to just show that how I am loved and how I am valued in his life. And maybe he did in his own way, but I never realized it. I always felt that I am not loved. I am not accepted in his life. I don't matter anymore in his life. And this was at the just the beginning of the relationship. It was hardly a month or so. And initially I just thought that maybe we need time because we used to live in different cities. I was living with my in-laws and he used to come on weekends. So I thought maybe we don't get enough time to understand each other. And so I tried my level best, to make the weekends as special as I could in a joint family setting. But I always felt left out. It was like, I'm planning so many things for him, and he is not willing to even see it. He doesn't even acknowledge it. And then I tried, I prayed that, I just shift with him, and then maybe our relationships issues will be sorted out and we will be finally be in love the way people do, the way we see in movies. And after a year or so of my marriage, staying with my in-laws, I moved to my husband's place. And then suddenly, instead of love and romance and all the things which a new bride thinks of, everything vanished. And there were fights, everyday fights. And at moments, when he would leave for his work, I would think, what exactly happened to me? Why I behaved in such a manner? I mean, itni badi to koi baat nahi. It wasn't a big issue. Why I was creating a hill out of nothing? I mean, I'm fighting on baseless issues, and then I will go on to a guilt trip. And suddenly, I will all be lovey-dovey when he will return back. And then maybe for a day or two, I will try to mend things. And again, something would happen which will just upset me, and I will again go back in that cycle. And this frequent fights adversely affected our relationship. And I felt that I am not seen, I am not valued. And he would often confront me, why are you behaving like this? You were never this way in past 1 year. What exactly happened to you? And I would tell him, look, I feel that you don't value me, you don't love me, and I will keep on complaining about it. And then he will tell me it's not the truth. I love you, I value you. And I will say, no, I don't feel like it. And this will keep on and on and on. And slowly and gradually, he started withdrawing because he didn't want to have those difficult conversations, or rather, those repeating conversations, I would say. And I would feel all the more anxious that why he's not looking at me, why he's not talking to me. Earlier, he was willing to go to an ice cream, and now he's like, you just go alone, or let us order, or maybe we'll do some other day. I mean, every small little thing, he doesn't want to stay with me. And then when he is at house, he is always reading newspapers. He is not willing to have a conversation with me. It's only me who is always conversing, talking, and all these things kept piling inside. And within 2 years of my marriage, I went into a severe depression. I was depressed. I started having suicidal thoughts, and in fact, I tried to commit suicide twice. And this created an alarm bell in everyone. And everyone was like, we can't leave her alone. And the more people cringed to me in order to save me, I would push them. And I became bitter and bitter. And then finally, I had to see a psychiatrist who took me to a various kind of psychological tests. And then he declared that she is depressed. In the meantime, I also underwent all kind of CT scans, MRIs, and all kinds of blood tests, which shows my cortisol levels are extremely high. And, you know, they would say that she will have a nervous breakdown. It is that high. And this created a panic in my family. But no one really asked me what is bothering you. Everyone accepted the fact that I am depressed, I am having anger issues. But no one really understood what I am feeling, what I am going through. And then the doctors put me on medications. The medications, I don't know it was required or not, but it was a blessing in disguise because I used to sleep for good 12 to 14 hours in a day. I would just wake up, make meals, and I won't even bother whether my husband has eaten food or not, and I will just go off to sleep. And then I'll wake up in random hours, I'll take meals again. So essentially, I was working as a robot, and it was working well, because we didn't had any fights, and we both were there. But suddenly, my mother-in-law planned to came to visit us, to stay with us, and then I could not sleep because it wasn't acceptable that she's sleeping for 15 hours a day. And then she might be doing it out of concern for her own son, or maybe a concern for me as a family member too. But I could not take her concern. I just to see it as an interference. Now, when I look back, I see that she might be just concerned about me as a person who is spending her life with her son. And my well being influences her son's happiness. But I couldn't see it at that point of time. I just saw her as interference. And, she'll keep telling me that if I increase or I'll just think of family planning, I'll have kids, things will go better, and I'll have someone to give my love and attention to, and I'll be busy. And then, we both will be connected in some different ways. And strangely, this suggestion was given by all of the family members, as if having a kid is the only solution. Instead, no one realizes that having a kid, along with these problems, just adds to the problem. And it magnifies it to an extent that you can't even imagine. Because everyone believes, yes, now the child is born, the things are taken care of. No one realizes the emotional, physical, and mental breakdown, the turbulence a woman goes through, especially when she doesn't have a support. So, but my medications prohibited me to conceive. At that point, I also realized that the problem is not with me, because my mother-in-law used to take me to different. So while one of my cousin's sister-in-law is a gynecologist, and she used to take me to her to ensure that I have a problem and I take a treatment so that I can conceive. But even after the gynecologist ran different tests, there wasn't any problem. And then something popped up. She told me that I do not have the opening, as in that it seems that my marriage is not consummated properly. And this was the literally a nail in the coffin, because this also made a clear understanding that my husband has some physical issues, because of which our relationship is suffering. Yes, we had different time zones. He still worked in the Canadian market hours, which was in US time zone. And because of my in-laws, I have to wake up at time, I have to sleep at time, and my sleep cycle was disturbed. With the medications, I wasn't able to sleep as well. And that also created a lot of aggression, a lot of exhaustion in my body. And I started numbing out. And when this thing became clear that, my husband has a medical issue, unfortunately, the circumstances went against me. And I still have some kind of remorse. I won't say resentments, which I had earlier, but I still have some kind of remorse for my in-laws, because they told me, and I do feel that, they could have saved the situation. It was just a physical ailment, which could be sorted out. But somehow this patriarchal mindset set in, and they actually were unacceptable to this fact that a male could have a problem. And instead of telling their son that, you could seek medical help, they started presenting things in a way wherein I was doubting my husband's capabilities. as a husband. And the typical Indian mindset kicked in, the male ego flared up, and we had lots and lots of fights. It was that point of time that I was contemplating divorcing him. I was literally having nothing for him. It was only deep, endless sadness inside me. But I wasn't able to take this decision, partly because I couldn't accept what has happened to me. Somewhere I felt that, if I would have taken these steps, or if I would have done so and so things would have improved. And there was a slight glimmer of hope in me that things will change. He would love me. And so I stayed in the relationship. We changed psychologists, we changed marriage counselors, but nothing helped. And then finally we gave up. And in the meantime, we shifted to our in-laws' place because of the time zone difference was creating a lot of havoc in our bodies as well as in our relationship. And everyone involved in this fiasco suggested one thing, that my husband needs to change the job. So we shifted to Surat, where my in-laws live. And there he consulted a medical doctor and we were able to conceive. But there was no attachment involved. So I conceived my first child out of fluke, and I guess we both were not prepared for it. And yes, I had a very difficult pregnancy. My firstborn was a preterm. I delivered him in 8 months itself, and his survival was at its stake. So there was a lot of emotional turmoil. But yes, when I came back after delivery, things were okay. I won't say good, but it was okay. And then suddenly he was not doing well in his job in Surat and he was dissatisfied. So suddenly he got his call from his previous company that we are working in Australian markets and you can come and join there. And so we again shifted to Gurgaon in 2017. And by that time, things had improved to a lot of extent between us. But and he had started medication again just to improve our relationship. And suddenly I conceived my second born. So that was again a difficult time because this pregnancy again was not planned. He had just shifted and come to a new job. He was understanding everything. The expenses have flared up. Suddenly my first one was ready for school. And we were not prepared that if the schools could be so expensive in Gurgaon or this, and my health literally gave up. I was on bedridden in the entire pregnancy. I couldn't even walk properly. The only privilege I had was of washroom privileges. And I could not walk. I just lied down on the sofa and I tried to engage my son. I would just, with struggle, try in order to save money. I would hire a cook and I would just struggle to make meals. And then just somehow I managed my second pregnancy. My mother came up. She helped me for 6, 7 months. And then I delivered my second child. But after that, what exactly happened to me was I was utterly exhausted. I was bitter beyond reason. So while on surface, everyone would see that they are such a happy family with a good job and, the kids are doing well. She has two boys, and in Indian society, boys are specially considered something. If you are a mother of two boys, your life is sorted, something like that. Boys are given that, and she has two boys. Her kids are so well behaved. She has a husband who is loyal to her, and everything okay, accepted. But this void inside me, that something is wrong, something is missing, kept on increasing. And suddenly I started complaining again that you don't love me anymore. You don't take care of me. I don't matter to you. Even after kids, I'm doing so much. I'm doing all the household work, managing kids. I'm trying to get part-time job as well. And you don't see me. You don't see me. And he would continuously defend that you keep on complaining the same thing from first year of our marriage, and I don't feel it that way. I love you. I don't love anyone else. I don't understand why you don't feel my love. And this kept on going, going, going. So I got married in 2009, and till to 2020, it was the same scene. Only now there were 4 people in the house, while 2 adults fighting and the 2 kids getting scared every single day with the increased fights among us. And the kids were like that, even if one person raises the voice on over phone, they will get scared. And they are like, ki, ab jhagda ho jayega. My parents will start fighting. And it was a very difficult time. And then on top of it, the lockdown came. And everyone in the home stayed in the same room. The maids went off, and along with everything, the household work also started piling. And this was the moment when I actually lost my mind. I would literally say I lost my mind because my anger issues went to such an extreme that I don't know what I was doing. I would literally start hitting my kids, violently hitting them, yelling at them, shaming them. I mean, I was shaming my 2.5 year old kid for not eating properly. What I'm supposed from a 2.5 year kid? They will make mess. But I didn't have any senses of my own. I had just lost it all. And that was the time, one day I was having an argument with my husband, and my younger one was clinging to me because of the raised voices. He was scared and he was literally clinging to me, and I was getting irritated. I used to spew him, just go away, and he will cling more. And at that moment, I literally threw him. I was sitting on the bed. There was a mattress lying on the floor because the kids were small. So we just kept a mattress on the floor so that they will not get hit while climbing the bed or maybe coming down. And my son just fall on the mattress. And I didn't realize it at that point of time as well, that what the hell I'm doing. And my husband said, just throw him, throw everyone off. And I said that, yes, I will throw everyone off. The only thing is you're too heavy that I can't lift you up. Otherwise, I would have thrown you out from the balcony. I was so angry, and I didn't realize what I'm doing. In fact, I was in the impression that my husband is not a responsible man. I don't know what responsibility meant because he was responsible in all the aspects, but still I felt that he's not responsible. He doesn't love me, he doesn't respect me, he doesn't take care of me. My kids don't listen to me, and they were just 5 and 2. And I have just complained that, they are making my life hell. And I didn't realize what I had done. My kids were truly scared of me, even if my eyebrows would raise and they would just retire to their rooms. That was the kind of atmosphere I had created in my house. But still, I was under this impression that everyone else is wrong. And one day, while I was fuming in anger and walking in my room, I suddenly hit myself from the corner of the bed, and my knee started bleeding. And at that moment, it hit me that I had thrown my little one, my younger son, on that point itself. If it was just a fortunate thing that the angels or the God or whosoever the higher power is literally helped him to land on the mattress on the floor. Otherwise, he would just have hit himself, and the corner was quite sharp. It literally pierced my knee. And then I realized it would have pierced my son's head. I would have literally killed him. I mean, despite I do everything for them, But what is this going? How is this going to benefit them if in my anger I'm not understanding what I'm doing? I would have killed my kid. His skeleton would have been smashed. He was just a young kid, and that was the time I realized that no, I need serious help. But I wasn't willing to go to a psychologist or a, you know, psychiatrist for that matter, because I had a very bad experience before. I tried counseling, marriage counseling, and antidepressants for so long, but nothing helped. And then my sister told me about one of our relatives. So my father's friend, and he is neighbor for more than 25 years. His niece, uh, few of you might know her, Shruti, was an inner child healer at that point of time, and her husband Kriyesh was a therapist too. And so my sister told me that you should contact Shruti or Kriyesh, and they might help you. And at that point, I was at my lowest low. I didn't know whether I wanted to stay in the marriage. So on surface, I didn't have any reason to move out, but I wasn't happy. That was very clear. And I wasn't sure whether I want to take my kids with me or I want to leave them behind. And it was not out of mother concern, a concern as a mother. It was more about the society judgments, that how can she leave her children? How can be so selfish? And these things literally triggered me. It created a something, a turbulence kind of thing inside me, which I can't even express. And then I thought, okay, without informing my husband, by that time, the lockdowns have lifted and the schools started. So did get 2-3 hours, and I also got a job in between. So I was getting 10,000, 12,000 as a salary for a month for teaching MBA students for 2 hours a day. So I used to go there, and then I would take a leave from my institute and I would visit Priyesh, and I would just work with him, and then without telling anyone, I'll come back home. So I met my therapist for long, and the more I did the work, I realized that it wasn't my husband, it wasn't my kids, it was my belief about myself, that I am not seen, I do not matter, I am not loved, I am not acknowledged, I am not appreciated for who I am. No one loves me, no one understands me. My life is all about pleasing other people. I have to give, and still no one sees me. No one does anything for me. And the more I started working on myself, I realized these are the feelings of the inner child in me, the inner versions of me. And gradually, the moments, in those therapy, those who are aware of the somatic work, they would understand that we dive into such moments. And then I saw myself as a 3-year-old girl who was just neglected. Her mother, her father wasn't doing financially well, so he had to make ends meet, and he was always away. He would go by morning 7 and he would come back by 10 in the night. And I saw my mother. So my mother has a handicap, so she takes a little longer than any normal human being to complete a task, and she would just maintain, which she'll try to do all the housework and all, and I would left her play. And now suddenly memories started creeping up, that when I used to call my mother, or when I used to cry and threw a tantrum, my mother would tell me, this is not a good girl is supposed to behave. A good girl should behave in so and so manner. And in order to receive love, I wanted to be that good girl. She didn't do it out of purpose. She was overwhelmed too. She was exhausted too. Before me, she had two miscarriages. And the only way she knew to love me was to ensure that everything falls in place so that I get the best nutrition, I get the best clothes. She used to stitch clothes for me, even after a shoulder ball missing. And she did everything possible for me because of her love. That was her way of showing love. But as a child, I could not understand. I understood that being a good girl, playing with my toys on my own, keeping toys in place, eating whatever my mother gave me without a fuss is what a good girl is supposed to be. And I was appreciated for that. The more I was appreciated, the more I felt doing it. It was like a feedback reward kind of cycle that I was given a feedback that you are such a good girl. Wow, I'm so happy for you with you. You are behaving in such a nice manner. The more I will do it. And the moment as a child when I lost it, when I lost my temper, my mother would withdraw that love. And so I had this mindset that I need to perform and perform and perform and keep on performing. And this over performance became an indispensable part of my personality. So I would start giving in. When I was 3, my mother gave birth to my younger sister. And so we have 3 years difference. So around 2 years, 2.5 years, when she was expecting with my second sister, when she was expecting her second child, my father met with an accident. And he had a memory loss. He refused to acknowledge any one of us. He refused to recognize any one of us. And so my mother, apart from being pregnant and having to undergo that physical and emotional stress, that mental stress, my mother was also having this stress that what if my father never recovers? What if he doesn't recognize us? And what will happen to me? What will happen to her children? I was just 2.5 year old, and my younger sister were so a fetus at that point of time. She was pregnant maybe for 2 months or so like that. And at that moment, somehow as a child, I realized that I need to be invisible. I need to be unseen. I need not to make any kinds of demands because my parents are already stressed. So even though this cognitively doesn't make sense that how could a child make ensures this or how could a child understand it, but energetically, child understands everything. The child understands the change in the tone of your voice. And they are intelligent beings because their mind is not developed, but their bodies are developed. And they think from the higher intelligence, which is inside them. And I started being in my own shell, in my own imaginary world where I was the hero, where I was loved, where I was celebrated. And I didn't have any demands from my parents. Even now, whenever my extended relatives meet, they often say that we have never seen a child as complacent as Sneha. And they might mean it in a good way, but it is now I see what damage has it caused. Because all the things which I withdraw myself from, all the things which I thought that I don't need to, I don't need to demand love. I can't desire love. I can't desire money. It is showing in that way. Similarly, I don't deserve love. I need to give and give and give. And this is reflecting in my relationships where I'm constantly giving and giving. But the difference here is that now, as an adult, my cognition has developed. My rational, logical mind has developed. And even though my body doesn't know that the circumstances outside has changed, I am an adult who can make her own decisions or who can do whatever she wants. This my body doesn't realize, but my mind knows it. And therefore, there is a split between my mind and body where my mind wants to expect the other person to give something in this relationship, whereas my body is continuously overdoing and overgiving. And this was the point I realized that the relationship, the way we experience our present relationships, is not because of the way the other person is. It is because of the template of relationship we have received as a child. As a child, I understood that receiving love is not right. Desiring love, demanding attention is not right. The only thing I should do is to give, and give. And the exhaustion which I felt in my relationship, right from the first month of my marriage, and when it was an arranged marriage, I didn't know the person and I didn't bother to understand the person, to know the person. The only thing I was looking was for receiving love. And no matter how much he tried to love me, it would be never enough because I wasn't receiving love from an adult. I was receiving love on behalf of that child who wanted to receive love from their parents. And often, even though our parents give us the best, I had the best upbringing because I never had to struggle for anything. Even though my parents were not financially well, we still did it. I mean, I was educated in one of the finest institutions in Pilani and then in Modi Lakshmangarh. So these are premier institutes in India. And I was given the best of education. I was given the best of food and clothing, whatever they could afford in their limited means. But still, this feeling of not being loved never goes away. And even after doing so much of work, I still feel that I can't desire love. It's now that when I'm getting aware of my patterns, I'm able to start drawing lines. I'm able to start making boundaries that this is what I will give. And this is beyond this, I cannot give anymore. And yes, when I draw a boundary, I do feel guilt. But when I work upon myself, I'm able to go ahead with this. Like recently, day before yesterday, me and my husband were talking, and I told him, look, my son's school is very far from my place. So they take an hour to go and an hour to come. So there are 2 hours are lost in commuting itself. And I told him that it becomes very difficult because they are very tired. And when they come home, and if I ask them to study, they can't. So it's making it very difficult for me to teach them. And then he told me that teach them once they have played and taken dinner, and or else you leave your job, you prioritize things inside your head and how you are going to take care of the family. Before this before this inner work, if this conversation would have happened, I would have ultimately taken it as a personal attack. That why should I compromise? Why should I always adjust? They are your kids as well. Why can't you devote time instead of solving the problem? Why you want me to adjust? But this time it was different. I told him clearly, look, I can't do that because I wake up at 4 in the morning, and if you expect me to teach them till 9:30, I'm exhausted. So my body gives up. And even if I do it for a while, I cannot continue it for a longer period of time. The second thing I told him that I cannot compromise on my work. Yes, I will ensure that it falls as per all of your timings, that you guys, you and the kids don't have to adjust much. I will ensure that. I'll ensure all things have been taken care in the house, but I will not leave my job because it is my job, it is my work which is giving me happiness. And if I leave it, I will start feeling bitter, and that bitterness will spill over. And then my husband was quite taken aback. Not because what I have shared, but because of the vulnerability I exposed myself. I show my real self that, look, this is what I am. You and kids cannot make me happy because my happiness lies within me. Yes, you add to my happiness and you add to my troubles, but the exact belief is inside me. So the more we connect to ourselves, the more we become aware of the patterns, we see a mirror image of it in our childhood. And when we go and retrieve those parts of us, when we go and give love to that inner child of us, when we accept that, yes, our parents did the best in the circumstances, but yet my needs were unmet. I felt unloved at times. And that doesn't make my parents bad human beings. But it also makes me realize that they are just human beings with their own limited capacities. So the more we do that work, the more I did that work, I started seeing my parents as humans, and as a part of system they belong to. Whatever way they have shown love to me was because of their own upbringing style, was the times through which they have been brought up, the way in which they have been showed love by their parents. And they did the best to me. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me as a child. And while I may keep on harboring this complaint, and someday I might get, 70, 80 years old, and I still will feel that my parents never loved me, or I was never loved enough throughout my life. But I have another choice. And the choice is to fill my own cup of love, to accept that, yes, this is what my parents could give. And no matter how much I tried, this is the only thing they could give to me. And now the journey is from me to me. I have to give myself love. I have to love that inner children of me because now I'm an adult. And all the resentments, the complaints which I have in my relationship stems from that inner child of me who was not loved, who was not seen, who was not appreciated. And the stronger the relationship we have with our own inner child, the better we become in terms of expressing our needs. We don't go into that polarized cycle of either becoming very submissive or aggressive. And I mean, I'm doing this work for more than 2 years as a client myself. I'm still seeing my therapist. Yes, the work has taken a different level now, but I still see him frequently. And my kids, yesterday, my kids told me, I was just sitting on the sofa, mindlessly scrolling my social media. And my son told me, you know what, Mama? When I was small, I was very scared of you. Out of the blue, he told me, I was very scared of you because you were always angry. And now I feel so happy with you. Even when you are not talking to me, I feel so happy with you. And this, I realized that I haven't bonded with him. I have not made conscious efforts to bond with him. It is just that I have taken care of my needs and I don't project my unmet needs on my children, and their behavior doesn't seem as a personal attack to me. If they are not eating properly, it doesn't mean that I am not a good mother. It just means that don't know how to eat properly. That's it. Um, if they do not do well in their examination, it is not because I have not teach them. It may be because they are not interested in studies. And the more I start working on myself, thoughts of having that perfect child, because I was a perfect child, I was the golden child. I relieve them from that pressure, and the more I do, the freer they become, and that is how we connect as humans. So this was my end of story on how I started viewing relationships on different note when I started healing myself. And now I open the floor to all of you to share your views, whether this resonates with you or you have a different take. Please go ahead, any one of you.
Uh,
Yes, Kiran.
I didn't hear properly the last few sentences. Can you repeat?
So I was saying that this was my end of the story, that where I started viewing relationships in a different manner, the more I connected with myself. And now I would like to know your experiences as a child. And do you see a pattern mirroring in your current relationships, or how is it affecting you? Anything from your end.
Sure. Like, can I go first, or does
Yeah,
if
yeah.
anybody wants
Please,
to go
please,
back?
please go.
When you were talking, it felt like you were narrating my story because I am the oldest in my family. I have two younger sisters, and I too lived in joint. I grew up in a joint family till I think we moved out only after I turned 18. We were also like when we were very young, we were very poor, and by the time I came to high school, we came to like low middle class and all that. My parents gave like education was good. I went to one of the best medical colleges in India and the first top medical college in my state, Andhra and Telangana. Usmania Medical College, if you have an idea. So, and also I grew up like in a household where women are not given education. Nobody studies in my family. It's like max if they study by graduate by high school. It's more. I'm the first professional female, and whatever it was. I just wanted to prove that girls are no less, but it came with lot of pressure and like my father has severe anger issues and my mom is a very meek. Now I mean it's disrespectful. I always think that I should not say these words, but that time I used to think that, oh, she's so peaceful. My I, I have never seen my mother get angry. I turned 40 this year and 40 years of my life. I think she slapped me once, that too because my mother knows that I won't do anything, but that too because my sister, bitched about me to my mother. So my mother was a little disturbed, but she slapped me once. I didn't speak to her 3 days. After that, she realized that, okay, I should not hit her. So that, and the few times my father hit me because of his anger issues, because I thought, what else? Even at very young age, I realized I used to read like I started reading books from the age of like what in my third grade. We used to get three newspapers. My father was very particular about education. Like my name is Kiran because they thought I should become like Kiran Bedi. So they used to like infuse it in my head. But no, Kiran Bedi, like you have to be that. You have to be that. I was like, okay, when they used to say those things, I used to see the joy in their face. And my goal has been since childhood ki unko khush karna hai. And we lived in a very bad housing situation, like very bad. बहुत बुरा हाल था. Although it's a joint family, it's a big house, but there were like 25 people and an extra 10 people coming and going, all extended relatives from villages and everything. No safety and security for girls. It was scary. Many times I used to stay awake in the night, even in my eighth and ninth grade. Ki kuch chori hua to kaisa. So I used to stay awake and study. And I used to tell my mother, "Don't worry, I'm studying. I'll watch around. You people sleep peacefully." So that was there, and whatever. Like when you were telling that you're also the golden child and all of that, I was like, oh, I could relate, and all that happened. I became doctor and whatever. Like I was a mini celebrity in my family. I'll tell you, whenever the moment I got into medical college, I used to go to parties or weddings. Some random aunties, like, every family, every community has these rich aunties, right? Like, they wear the bigger pallu, silk saris, the bigger jewelry. If normally they don't even look at us. But the moment I got into medical college, somehow my father gave more money, like money, and said, like, acha jao, अच्छे kapde खरीदो. I don't know, and we started dressing a little better. And those aunties, I remember they used to come and ask, "Oh, are you that Kiran who got into Usmania? Are you that Kiran?" I was like, "Oh yes, I am the celebrity now." But all my cousins got so jealous, and they used to bully me a lot. I was like, "Oh my god, the nerdy girl has come now," and everything. It was too confusing for me. I used to cry a lot and think a lot कि मैं तो सही ही कर रही हूँ. I was so, I don't know, self-respect कहो, egoistic. Okay, I used to be so determined, stubborn, and adamant that one time my father hit me, not because I did a mistake, but because he was angry that my sisters are not studying, and somehow it was my responsibility to make them study. I was in fourth grade. मुझे क्या पता? All I knew is like I know how to study, and I used to pick up how to study, and nobody taught me. My parents are not educated. My mom is a high school dropout. My father is like some diploma he did, and he was also struggling till 40, till he turned 40. He did not have an established anything. So all they did is like, you have to become like Kiran Bedi, you have to study वैसे. Beyond, they put me in a good elite school, like beyond their financial capability. They think that we put, but they don't know the fact that I skipped so many classes because half of the time I used to get punishment because the fee was not full. But I used to get so scared also of my father that कि अगर नहीं पढ़ूंगी तो वो मारेंगे, and I should be that perfect child. I cannot be that imperfect child or the imperfect sibling. And I had like a pura joint family thing. Apart from my sisters, there were other 10 kids. I was the example, and I was like, oh, if I do one wrong thing, पीछे सब लोग बुरा करेंगे, मेरे ऊपर पड़ेगी, like, everything will fall on me. So I was like, I won't even give my father a chance to hit me or point out me. I was that determined. And even that time, like, I used to read books. हमारे घर पे, like, they used to encourage reading and books. So we used to get 5 newspapers within the whole house. I used to read all of them and make notes. Ki, like sometimes in newspapers they give, right, these are the study tips. ऐसे पढ़ना, ऐसे पढ़ोगे तो exam में first marks आएंगे. I used to maintain a diary and make notes and study and change my strategies in everything. It was that. And I graduated and I was like, oh, finally I graduated. And also there was a lot of financial insecurity because my father, now I know, he also probably, so he was alcoholic, chain smoker, gambler, and everything till we kids were born. And by the time third child was born, everybody knocked sense into him कि अभी 3 लड़कियां हो गए. No matter what the gender, female child burden creeped upon him. He's like, I have to stop it. He stopped. He thought he stopped his addictions, but he switched to religion. Like, this too much spiritual, not even spirituality, I would say. He used to do this lot of pujas and everything, like, he switched his attention and everything. And now I know probably he had ADHD, he also had depression and anxiety, all those things, because when I came to US in 2009, within 2 years of my marriage, I got married and I moved to US in 2009. In 2011, I was also like, when you were telling that within 2 years you were diagnosed with depression, itni, me too. Like, I was put on two antidepressants and one anti-anxiety medication. And when I was getting married, I thought, if women are not given any choice in my family. Kuch nahi. My father used to decide what clothes to buy. लेके जाते थे. He would have a budget in his head कि हाँ 500 में बच्चों को कपड़े दिलाने हैं. But he will tell 250 में देख लो. And we kids used to like squabble and अच्छे से वो bargain करते हैं ना कि देखो इसे bargain करना है नहीं वो. And after that, once we've decided, because there was no courage to कि push करो कि ज़्यादा पैसे दो आप. And I used to tell myself कि because my father used to constantly say the moment we kids a little naughty and he used to say that मेरे मम्मी पापा ने मुझे नहीं देखा, my wife is not listening, my kids are not listening. I was like, papa is working so hard, I should not disappoint him. I was like, I won't ask anything, it's okay. In seventh grade, I used to read newspaper ads and went and asked for part-time jobs. My father got angry, he hit me. That's secondary thing. He's like, how dare, my father told like, kya zarurat thi and all. I didn't have the courage that you're not working, you're complaining all the time, paise kahan se aayenge. But it was that, like, we still don't know how much money my father has because he never tells, very secretive, controlling. Those are the negative, or call it whatever. My mom, he never gave 100 rupees to my mother, even today. He will buy her, now we are like decent, he will buy her 1 lakh ka jewelry, but not give 200 rupees to her hand. Ki kharcha karo ya decide something like that. Growing up, seeing all of that, I used to think that, acha theek hai, these people don't know shit. Maybe I was judgmental. It's like the moment I will become like the super educated woman, I will become the best amongst everybody so that they won't point fingers at me. I was like, that's why I chose medicine. I loved medicine after I joined, but before that, it was a challenge only. I knew I was good at academics. Mujhe wahi. I got into dental. I got into other good medical colleges. I was like, no, I want this only. That people should talk about me. That Kiran is hardworking. Kiran is this, and nobody should raise fingers at me. That was my determination. And I got when I graduated, I was like, I thought I will have a voice. मुझे choice मिलेगी कि मुझे आगे क्या करना है. I no marriages. I was also afraid. I used to read a lot of books ki all my cousins suffer, we are suffering. I still feel like it's not just because my parents, they have a lot of issues, but still my parents had decent enough marriage. Like, we used to go to movies and vacations and everything. Aisa. I used to think that okay, something is missing. I should have like a good marriage because my kids should not suffer and all of that. And I used to think like, what should a person do to have a good marriage and have good family life? हम तो suffer हो रहे, बच्चे इतने suffer हो रहे. All my no marriage was good around me. There were only 3 women who became school teachers. Unki marriage to itni kharab, like they were suffering so much. The husband used to crip all the time. So now that fear was also there. The working woman's marriage won't survive that. So I was a little scared, and I was like, no matter whatever. Yes, ab thik ho. This I am MBBS. No, yeah. I won't believe that same degree was weaponized. When I got my degree and everything, I was super excited. Like behind my back, my parents started searching for the groom, and they were like, "Ye karo, wo karo." They just didn't listen to me. The moment I raised a voice, ki, no, mujhe ye karna hai. This is what I want. Hi, does everybody understand Hindi? I'm switching to
Yes,
Hindi a
yes.
lot. So I used to tell my parents used to use that. Oh, now you're a doctor. You think you're smart. You can raise your voice. I was like, to raise my voice only, itni mehnat karke I got into MBBS. I got a degree. Apart from being financially independent, now they, for a few months, they told like, there was no choice. Just like you, they used to bring the guy randomly. एक बार तो मैं ऐसे सो रही थी. They woke me up. I didn't even take shower. I told my mother, Mummy, I didn't even shave henna thi subah mein aisa. My mom told, it's okay, you look fine. Just put on a sari and sit. The guy is coming in 1 hour. What? I told my mother, like, ab jaisa nahi hai. Like, that time in 80s, you got married like this, but time is not like that. My mom is like, ज़्यादा बात मत करो, friend. You're getting influenced by friends. Shut up and sit. ऐसे ही करवा दी मेरी शादी. चक मांगनी पट शादी. He came. I saw the maybe now I'm realizing that, as you also realize later, right, that we should be happy inside. I was so disappointed because I didn't even enjoy that hard work of 6.5 years of medicine. Like, I think I decided in sixth grade that I want to become a doctor. I've just thought by seventh grade I've decided मुझे उसी पे करना है. And there were many of my relatives and cousins कि नहीं होता, girls कितनी मुश्किल, this is such an expensive career, this is such a difficult career, why do you want to do it? The more outside people discouraged, the more determined I became. And I was like कि करना है and everything. And by ninth and 10th grade I was like कि since ninth grade, how in India for these competitive exams the brainwashing comes, I did not take a break. Like there was no room to fail. There was no room to breathe. There's like padna hai, padna hai. Even after I got into medical college, also, I took like I think 1 2 months. I felt nice. Ki, haan, we have arrived. But then comes ki exams pass hone, because if you fail, you'll be held back. And I was studying and all, and I was again determined कि इतना दूर तक आ गया, we should push more. Every year, every semester, I used to start with कि I want to get a gold medal this year. I missed one year, I missed gold medal by just 4 marks. I was so depressed and heartbroken. मुझे नहीं मिला, मैंने देखा ही नहीं कि आया. It was my friend, my good friend. He got the gold medal. He told like you missed it by 4 marks. I was like, oh okay, ठीक है, मैं फिर भी smart हूँ, because I always question, am I a smart person? Am I a smart person? And all, because my now I realized my mom and my father gaslight gaslight in a very subtle way. Like my mom used to tell like कि, हाँ लड़की, the moment I got into medical college, she forgot about me कि, हाँ, now she can take care of herself. Then she started saying, oh, now it's time to learn cooking, घर का काम, all that bullshit. And then came like कि, हाँ लड़कियों का क्या है, Telugu, my native language is Telugu, but to translate will say that you people what, educated people को तो wings आ जाएंगे, you'll get the wings and fly away. हम बूढ़े लोग रह जाएंगे. That's so much of guilt tripping. I didn't even know. And I also used to think that, I should find a guy who is open. I don't like this mother-in-law and all those shit. I don't mind taking care of his parents, but my parents don't have sons, so they have to take care, be open and everything. Whatever. My marriage, I was married for 6 years. I got divorced. Lots of fights. I was afraid of fights, but my fights are very passive aggressive or cold. I don't fight. I just retreat and there is silence. And I told like when my at one point my ex told that you're so arrogant and stubborn. I took it as a compliment. I didn't take it as arrogant and everything. He just provoked me. But stubborn is a very good compliment. I don't know why people think that's a negative. I was like, I'm like determined कि मुझे जो चाहिए वो चाहिए ऐसा. Oh my, maybe no. Now when you said right about your mother-in-law that maybe she's concerned about her son and everything, I was young. I also didn't have that perspective. Uh, बहुत, I mean, I didn't fight a lot, but I didn't even uh, like mine was Cold War. I was depressed. Then I told K, up karo. I'm not fighting with you, but I'm not also entertaining it. Like you do whatever you want. So they forced me a lot with for kids. I told like I can't bring a child like this in an unstable. We lived in the US. मुझे it's not only about career banana tha. I was pressured. My ex also was like कि पता नहीं when people will die you have to do. But he decided कि तुम अभी बच्चे करो, बच्चे को इंडिया भेजो, you do residency and everything. My residency job was weekly, it's minimum 100 hours. I was so worried. I studied pediatrics. They teach attachment theory in pediatrics in 1 2 chapters. I did psychiatry rotations. They teach all of this. I used to think that okay, ऐसा plan करना है. If I have to become pregnant, this is the time I have to take care of everything. Though from the moment I got married, within 6 months, I used to worry a lot because I got hypothyroidism the moment I moved to US. Whatever, I don't know how. I became like put on a lot of weight. I got depressed and I used to worry. So I started exercising and I tried so many diets. I used to worry again, like, if I am stressed, if I become pregnant, my kid will suffer. And also there was now later on in the last 2 years when I started doing TSM, I realized by that time subconsciously I was worried that first child will suffer because in my family, we all three suffered. My sisters also complain. But every child birth order, every child suffers in a different way. For me it was that burden of being this thing. My father and mother both kind of hate their eldest sibling. Like it's like my brother did not help me, my brother is lazy, my brother did not help me, he's responsible. My father used to show me these all Bollywood movies where like of Amitabh Bachchan, and in Telugu it's just like eldest brother should be like that, you better be that eldest sibling. And I used to listen to him. I used to proudly tell people that no, I'm my father's daughter, my papa ki chamchi hu, I'm not apologetic about it. Now I feel so bad, like why am I like that? I saw it took a toll. And my ex, There are two kids. He is the apple of the eye in his family. So I am in my family, like, I told, right, like, I was the only first professional in his family. He was the first professional in his family. Nobody studied. He was the only one ambitious, smart, who came to US by himself and made like a great life for him. So obviously his parents will have that immense control on him. So बहुत ऐसे ऐसे हुए. Mm, I don't know. I am like distracting, like many things are like bouncing on, but
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah. And such severe anxiety that one time, after coming here, I had to prepare for the some licensing exams to work as a doctor here. I was preparing, and that time, in medicine, when they teach anxiety, they tell palpitations, ye wo aise aise. But the thought process, they don't explain that that is also anxiety, the intrusive and continuous
Right.
thoughts. I had exam one day. 3 days before that, I was so depressed and anxious that I couldn't stop crying. I was like crying when I was taking shower, cooking, everything. I was like, I want to stop crying. I don't know. My tears are not stopping. I don't know how who to talk. And itni competition, this is so competitive that I was afraid to share with my friends also. Ek to personal life may there have been challenges going on. You're taught not to talk about your problems outside. And then that was there, that shame was there, and then I didn't want to tell my friends because I didn't want to look weak. Okay, oh, she's not smart, or she has, what is this? I just stuffed everything inside, and I didn't go to the exam. I went to the center. I said, like, I can't go inside. It's okay. What paise, like, it was $1,100 got wasted. I was like, I can't. I got so scared. I felt like running away, but I thought it would look too cinematic. So I just went there. I told that I don't feel like going inside. I will rather die than take this exam. And I came back. I went to a coffee shop and sat there all day crying, eating. I don't know what I did. So that was a call, but everybody pushed a lot for kids, but I was determined that I'm not going to bring a child like this. They said all kinds of stuff, to the girls who don't want to have kids. I said, like, whatever. I don't believe in those things. I know these things happen. But I was like, mere bacche suffer nahi honge. I don't know. I'm not getting the support. I was not getting support from my parents also. My father is like, deal with it. You're an adult. My mom is like, this is life. Deal with it. First of all, I was reluctant to get married. And then I was reluctant to get married to this person because he's not a doctor. My ex was not a doctor. And from the beginning only, in the beginning, they told, oh, doctor, and bohad, that kind of tortured. I don't know what's the scale to explain about dowry. No, dowry culture is lot. My, I'm actually against it, but my parents only shut my mouth and convinced कि ऐसा नहीं होता. You shut up. Again, you think you're too feministic and smart and everything. We know things. So don't talk. I told my parents after engagement also. We also had 3 months of courtship. I mean, kuch nahi tha, same time zone issue because he was in the US, I was in India. I used to work for a hospital and I thought I'll take night shifts so that, I'll be awake in the night. Maybe I can talk. But he acted all, I don't know. Now I feel like he had narcissistic traits, like, initially praise you. If the first 1 2 weeks was all praising only, oh, you're tall, you're so ambitious, you're so doctor. The moment engagement ring was on, the next day they started complaining. ये नहीं अच्छा था, वो अच्छा नहीं था, ऐसे नहीं दिया, give us this, give us that. I told my mother, my mom told, you think you're a heroine or something, shut up and get married. This is life, whatever. So, I think I started my marriage. Not, I think I knew, like, I'm not starting my marriage on a happy note. This is what, like, I never dated. I had, like, I fight with my parents now that ki, itne sare ladke the. I didn't even think. I told all the boys, like, there were opportunities, like, nahi karna, I am my daddy's father. All this bullshit is nonsense. You should study. I will get married to somebody, my parents. I trust my parents and everything. And look, it felt like they stabbed me in the back. I was so heartbroken. I still tried to make it work. I say my ex is, he has his qualities. He's good qualities too. So I kept on holding on to it. Like, okay, things will get better, get better, get better. They didn't get better according to me. but everybody was like, हाँ ऐसे चलता रहता है, you have kids, you have kids, you have kids. The moment they, oh, my ex-mother-in-law pressured a lot, बहुत pressure, like it's too much. I said the more, I told them, like, that determination only got me the medical seat. The determination only got me through the licensing exams. Means I am determined also. The more you push me, the more I will like become a stone. So don't do that. But they kept on doing. I said like, oh, do whatever. So at one point, like we decided. He told like, ऐसे नहीं हो रहा. You are useless for me. You are this for me. I was like, you say whatever. I became so depressed that we had this big house. We started living in different rooms. At one point, I told him that, I'll cook, clean, and everything, but I just don't want to talk to you. I was still preparing for my exams only. I told him, like, and but I was also so angry and stubborn that मैंने बोला कि I want to eat food. All day I used to be on coffee, 2 cups of coffee, lot of water, and study for max 1-2 hours, and then cry and just do. I didn't meet like I used to live like it was like a 2-story house. His room was downstairs, my room was upstairs. I didn't bother. I know when he would come key because the door opens, we hear the sound. I was like, after he used to leave for office, I used to cook, clean, and everything, and then do whatever and whatever. Like by the time he comes, I put everything on the dining table. Ke khana hai to khao and everything. Unless like I don't want to talk. I felt nice. I don't know now. It's looking back, I feel like it's super disrespectful. That also comes under like passive aggressiveness and that kind of little abusive and everything. And that he used a lot in all the divorce petition, like everything that she's crazy. He cited that I'm a drug abuser because I'm taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety. I had to fight that too. Whatever, all that. So this, and after that, I cried a lot for years. Actually, my divorce finished in 2015, but I'm still like some parts are stuck actually because I'm doing, since TSM only, I feel better. Before that, I still had anxiety issues, lot of like my self-esteem was broken. I was like, what's the point? I studied so much to make a career for myself, gain a voice, and we were in a very bad, we used to be treated not treated well because of 3 girls, like female children ki aisa thoda ignore. Every time my male cousins used to be always be taken forward. I used to get angry and cry. Nobody, one time I told my mother, like, nobody studies better than me. You think it's arrogance. I say it's confidence and my hard work. वो तो that I am a smart person, yet I get ignored and everything. My mom used to tell you focus on your work, in loan ka validation, like don't let it get to you or something. And yet the same, and I used to think that okay, I will become a doctor, I will bring the glory to my family, which I did. And I thought I will marry the right person and create all my life. Now, the reason, I won't say I chose, I just told my parents that, okay, it's okay if you're open to choose the US. In my head, it was like, I can stay away from the drama. Like, my father is no less, can become interfering person. And all my cousins suffered with the same in-laws drama. Many of my cousins went to the verge of divorce, suicide attempts, and all of that. And they survived, but nobody gave them solutions. Again, bache karo, they got busy. And now all the girls sad and everything. I feel sad, and I used to worry that this, I worked so hard, I came this far, not to live like that. No way. And I used to be, I fought with my parents. I still fight. Like, now I'm struggling to not find a purpose, because my purpose was that time to work hard to bring that glory to my parents, make them proud, and then find my person and create my family. Now I don't have a partner, I don't have children, I don't feel motivated to work, not work like in medicine, although I like it, because yahan pe it became stressful. I started working during COVID, and before COVID it was so stressful. And because of the workplace also has a lot of harassment, especially yahan pe immigrants ke liye. Everything was getting to me. I was like, I quit. That's why I quit that. And it's like, yeah. And my sisters, my father used to tell ki jo tu kuch bhi karegi. My father never let me go out with friends. He's like, I trust you, but I don't trust your sisters. So tumko jaane dungi. If I let you go, I have to let them go, but they will lie to me. I cannot keep a track on them, so you don't go. And I used to be okay. I used to do the math कि अभी ये 4 बार मूवी नहीं देखूंगी, अभी 3 बार फ्रेंड्स के नहीं घर पे करूंगी, तो that time that girl's birthday will come. So if I skip these 9 events, the 10th event I can go. I would rather utilize this time to study. That was my calculation then also. And I was like कि पैसे भी नहीं देते क्या आप लड़के पैसे के लिए जाना and all. I said that I didn't go. And my sisters, without even not like, who will tell, they had their boyfriends, they both ran away from home and got married. I was so heartbroken. I was like कि, I didn't even go out with one person, ये लोग तो भाग के शादी कर ली. I was like, what the heck. So now I feel like that lack of purpose and anything. I'm fighting with my parents occasionally. Like, I'm finally opening up. And my mom raised me like that. We should not ask anybody for help. It means, we are weak, या हमारे पास नहीं है. My parents are hardworking. Like, कुछ भी करके they accumulated wealth. They bought a house for each daughter. They got good enough jewelry and everything. But I don't know. So that is my thing. Now my parents keep pushing me ki shadi kar lo. Now we are open. You can find anybody. As like, I'm not like, as if I'm waiting to take permission from you. I'm not lying. I watched one movie. I was watching a doctor's show. In that, one of the doctors started crying the moment she started talking to an authority figure. That's when she told, "Sorry, I'm sorry, I have authority issues." I was like, "Oh, I think I know this." I used to Google every symptom, every feeling, anytime I used to watch a movie, or like when I was married. Also, I used to get so confused that I literally Googled. Within the 1 month I moved to US, my in-laws came with me. I googled, my mother-in-law is saying this thing. I feel confused. I don't know what to do. I typed that whole sentence in the Google. So many blogs came where everybody was like, I'm talking about an abusive mother-in-law, this, that. I was like, oh, I feel relieved that I'm not the only person thinking I'm a crazy person. They used to call me, you're crazy. My mother-in-law is so taunting, I'm telling you. They used to visit this one time, I was in the kitchen. She was standing on the other side, like, she was like yapping and yapping, and I was crying and she didn't stop. And I didn't know. I went into my bedroom, I cried, and I called my friend. She told, you don't reply anything, just chant Gayatri mantra. I used to look at the wall, cook, and ignore her and chant Gayatri mantra. Every time she used to raise her voice, I used to go into the bathroom, wash my face, flush. It's like I use the flush as like a flushing moment. Even when I didn't have to go to the bathroom, I used to flush and come back. And they provoked me a lot. बहुत कोशिश किया मैंने, like, not to give them. I think in 6 years of married life, I fought only 3 times.
Do you see a reflection, a mirror reflection in your life, Kiran? Like
My mom,
in your case, your siblings used to provoke you a lot.
yeah,
And the same thing happened after marriage, only the characters changed,
yeah.
right?
And the silent person who stayed in the marriage, I thought I was this ambitious, smart person. I became like mother. My father used to be this angry person and everything. My mother never raised her voice. I could not raise my voice. I used to think that what is happening? There was so much of mismatch between my mind, brain, like my brain, heart, and body's actions. Like, there was a phase like I became so small. Like, I'm 5'7", my height, but I also have a therapist. I told her that, it felt like my body became so small inside. There was a one time so much that my ex was little yelling. I almost crawled under to the bed. Okay, I just, closed my ears and I told, like, I'm not talking to you. I went under the bed. It's like, you're not coming near me. As a boy, like this other time, like we had like 4 bedroom house. So this one time I was so this thing, I wanted to be in such a dark place that I found in another room. I moved a small bed into that room corner. Like, I made this small space between the wall and the bed. I slept in that space. That's it. I looking back, I was like, oh, what was I doing? I was this crazy person or what? But I said like whatever. That my therapist assures me, like, you became a child because somebody is
Yes.
attacking. That's your self-preservation. I was like, yeah, yeah. Very recently, one of my friends told that you are letting your sisters. My sister, one, I have one sister. I have two sisters. One lives here only. The other one lives in India. She's the one, like, she provokes all the time. Like my friends told, like, we noticed then, but we didn't know it was right to tell. But you let them get to you. She's doing that. She has been doing. I was like, ah, but my parents take her side. My parents tell you be the bigger person. And my sister is stronger than all of us, even when we're younger. So many times she was stronger. So many times my mom and dad could not handle her tantrums. She was the strong person, as like, all that. And my parents used to get scared, and she was बहुत complaints आते थे. Like, I used to feel guilty that I was the good student, because what happens used to, when my parents used to come for the parent teacher meeting, all the teachers would tell like, she's so good. Why is she like this? And everything. My father used to get angry, obviously, and hit her, and she would throw more tantrums. I used to feel guilty for my sister and sad ki chote bachchi, he's hitting her. I used to feel guilty for being the good student also. It is too confusing for me. Also, like, I didn't know all those things. And since I did, like, ever since I did TSM, I did one shadow work course and a lot of inner child healing. That's when so many memories were coming up. Like, when I joined medicine, I graduated also. Although I knew the subject, so many times I let go of many opportunities. I used to feel underconfident. One time I got this amazing, couple of times I got this amazing opportunity. Like, I started working in private hospital. I still feel bad about it. They told that you have the capability, you can run the whole hospital shift all day and night. It is a good opportunity for my career. But I was like, no, sir, I cannot do. I just cannot do. I let go of it. I kept thinking, why did I do that? There were times like after coming to US also, just like, why? What has happened to me? I felt so stupid at one point. Not stupid. No, job is less. When I was with my ex also, I was so depressed. I applied for jobs as cook, nanny, and all. And some friends told, you are a doctor. You have the exams ready. You got the MD degree. Why? What is holding you back? I said, look, I don't know. I just don't feel like going. I was like, yeah, acha hai. I just, yeah. With that thing also, I let go. So I started working. I started reading books on imposter syndrome, the root cause of those issues. I started journaling. I remember these moments where, like, my father used to hit my sisters because they used to not used to study, and they would come, Didi, आपकी वजह से हमें मार मिल रही है. And I was like, okay, what should I do now? मुझे भी मार मिलेगी if I don't study. And I wanted to study. I wanted to be in the best, not only of that, but when you're working in your school, you have it, you want to do it like that. So it was too confusing and whatever. Yeah, those are my
Have
relationships.
you
And
read the
now,
book The Drama of the Gifted Child, Kiran?
not yet. I did not. I
Keep it
read
in your
about it.
priority. Keep it in your
What?
priority. You will relate a lot to it. I mean, that is one of the
Yeah.
books we do in inner child healing, the drama of the gifted
Yeah.
child. And it will show you a perspective which you never thought existed. It's like, the
Hmm.
ones who are the most gifted, most talented in any family are the one who are the most traumatized previously. And it is their gifts, their talents that doesn't allow them to see these parts of them.
Interesting. I know the title. Like, I know about the book, but I I'm afraid today morning also I was thinking that I texted a friend that I read a lot of books now also. I read ki I'm telling you, the moment I get a thought, like it's like ki, last month I was like, okay, what is imposter syndrome, मुझे अभी उसके काम करना है, because I'm like way behind in doing TSM. I'm still did not catch up with either the TSM modules or the ATEPS modules, I'm feeling guilty, but now I've become so numb with the guilt. In the past, I was that person who would wake up in the morning, would not start my day without reading 1 hour, or would not sleep without reading or finishing some chapters like that. Now I'm like for days, itni list like Gaurav says so many stuff. I'm like, in my head it comes, and I'm like, okay, I'll do, and wailing out time. So it's there. Yeah. So now my relationship, I and my father, it's been 2 years. He stopped talking to me because we had some arguments, and I told like, you are not going to talk to me like that. And I set some strong boundaries, and he did not take it well. And that, and I confronted my sister also on some things, like how my sister ran away from home and got married to her boyfriend 2 weeks after my wedding, like one day before I was moving to US. Like I was so hard. That caused a lot of problems in my marriage also, like how at in-laws place the moment like these kind of things happen. I still let her go. I told like, you were a child, maybe we created circumstances in the house, because my father knew about her boyfriend. He was forcing her to get married to somebody else. Obviously, what will the child person do? So I let her go and everything, but I told her that, you still like, you should have talked to anybody of us, or you should have waited and everything. My sister, again, she the person who's kind of provokes. We fought, and she stopped talking to me for, I think it's more than a year now. These are my relationships now. Like, I
Okay,
am
Kiran, it
not
is
like,
not about the state of the relationships today. Sorry, I'm interrupting, and it may sound a little, you know, upfront, but the truth is that the boundaries are not meant to stop talking to someone or to dissolve the relationship. The boundaries are meant to keep our priorities. Okay. So if stop talking to your father helps you in certain way, it gives you a happiness, or if stop talking to your sister gives you happiness, then please do the same. But if it doesn't help you, that means there is an unhealed part of you. And what you are essentially doing is that you are creating your absence so that they can feel your presence. It is a way of making my presence felt, that when if I'll not be there, you will understand how important that is. And again, it is a way of seeking that validation that, I matter. So it is very important that instead of, I mean, this what helps me in my journey, that instead of putting that conversation directly to that person, I chose to do my inner work in which I changed the narrative of the previous incidents by revisiting. And that helps because no matter how much you dissolve your relationship, but you are genetically attached. You are genetically attached to your sister, you are genetically attached to your parents. You have come from your parents. So when you resent them, you resent a part of you as well.
yeah,
And
exactly.
this is where you stop, like you said, that I have numbed out.
Yeah.
This is what is happening to you. So healing is not about resenting anyone, even though they cause me pain, but that is still a part of me. It's not that I will accept all their abuse now. I will set a boundary on that. But I cannot, but the moment I, reject them in any way, I reject a part of myself too. And since I have to live in this body, I cannot live fully.
Hmm.
Like you have gone through a lot since the very beginning. The way you have mentioned your story, and I'm sure you have shared just a glimpse of it. There is a lot more to it. But the
Hmm.
truth is that the more you reject them, like you rejected your mother for being a silent spectator in her relationship, and you eventually became one. You rejected
I
your
think not.
sister.
Yeah.
You rejected your sister for provoking and interfering, and you actually became one by being provoked as well. Like your mother-in-law kept saying something to you, and you start getting more and more stubborn or more determined on it. right?
Yeah.
So whenever you reject a part of your family system, it affects you. It affects you to the ways in which we can't even imagine. And often,
Mm.
in your case, like you said, that I was always judging my mother that how can she be so docile? And eventually I
Mhm.
became one. The thing is that you are so merged with your mother that you only see your father.
Mm.
And that became a template of your behavior. So it is basically you have to actually work on those inner children of you. Even if with
Yeah.
your current therapist, you just put it a perspective that I don't want to dissolve relationship, rather I want to bring them back. Whether you talk to them in person or not, that's a different issue. But the more you reject them, like in my case, I attended this one workshop of Susie Tucker. You must be knowing she is a pioneer in family
Mm.
constellation. And she told this one line, and this stayed with me. She said that when we reject our partner's parents,
Mm.
we reject them too. We reject our partner too because he feels that we have rejected an integral part of them.
Mm.
Okay? And when you reject your parents, you reject an integral part of yours. So I don't have a very good relationship with my in-laws as of now. It's like more of a formal kind of relationship. Earlier, I had a very deep bonding, but because of the circumstances, it changed. But now, what I'm working on is to changing that resentment to a neutral. I don't want to be a lovey-dovey again. I can't be because I'm a different person now. So I don't want you to become a loving daughter once again. But work on your resentment because the more you resent them, the more you are resenting a part of you because somewhere deep inside you want them to be validate you. And when you are
Mm.
giving them the part, you are losing your part. And it
Exactly.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I am not able to shake some parts, like the validation part. Like, it's been 6 years I'm divorced. Like, I got divorced in 2015, but there are still some parts stuck. Later on, I met other people also to get married again, but then I felt like I'm attracting the same people. The pattern is repeating, and I was like, I cannot take that risk. Like, at one point, like last year or somebody asked, I told them, like, I think I'm okay being like this rather than risking that again. Like, even today morning when I was thinking, I just thought my mother told, like, there is a rishta and everything. I told her that I fought, not exactly fight, me conveying this and me asking my mom a question, that what makes you think that I am open and all also looks like a fight for them. I told my mother, like, you did not fight. You had, my mother comes from an abusive family. Her father was alcoholic and abusive. She lost her father, like, in TSM, during TSM only, I figured that all of that, those things, the behaviors. My mother, that's maybe her coping mechanism, raised me telling so many lies, stories, which are not truth. Yeah, which shaped,
No, it's
like,
not about truth, Kiran. It is not true to you. It was her truth because she has been brought up with those beliefs and experiences, or maybe she has seen it during her growing up years. So it is her truth. It is not your truth. Okay. And she was telling you out of love. Okay. Like I tell you, my both sister, my younger sister and my younger brother, both are divorced. Okay. So my younger sister got divorced within 3 months or 4 months of her marriage because their marriage was not consummated and the boy never wanted to consummate the marriage. He married out of family pressure. So she had a very difficult divorce because the guy's family was very influential and they don't wanted to commit on papers that the marriage was not consummated. So we had a long legal battle at that time. And my brother, he got married and his wife went away with her lover in 3 months. She literally ran away from our house. And like in a Indian house, like I belong to a typical Marwadi Banya family, where these things are talked about. And their divorces are settled and they are moving on in their lives. They are yet to find partners. But my parents' constant worry is to get them married. And at one point of time, I asked them that why don't you understand that we don't want to get married? I mean, I am not happy in my marriage, and you have seen your other kids also struggling, going through divorce. Why do you want them to marry? Let them be. I was so as if that marriage only means happiness. But the truth is, marriage is the end of happiness. I told him very bluntly. I was so pissed off with this constant nagging because they used to tell me, "Ki tum inko samjhao." And
Hmm.
I wasn't even convinced myself, but given the state of my marriage. And then they told me, I don't know what kind of generation. And they told it me very simply. And I still remember that conversation. He told me, look, I don't know what kind of generation you belong to. But I know only one thing, that today we are alive to take care of you. Later, after 10, 12 years, when we will be no more, who will take care of you? And that is the whole idea of marriage in our society, that someone will take care of the other person. In
Hmm.
my parents' case, someone will take care of their daughter or their son.
Hmm.
But no one actually tells us that it is we will be taking care of ourselves and we'll find joy in each other, right? And
Yeah. Hmm.
so they belong to that kind of thing, that kind of society, that kind of era. So their idea is so that someone will take care of you. I'm telling you because I have understood their perspective. But the
Yeah.
truth is, Kiran, that marriage doesn't guarantee happiness, and no relationship guarantees happiness until and unless we are connected with our own self. Like, I
Hmm.
have been judged by all my in-laws family for various reasons, and the same people now want to connect to me. It's not that I have changed or I have purposely done something for them. It is because now I am at a much better space. So you have a lot to process on, because your entire life you were driven by only one purpose: to prove yourself, right? So as if what I'm doing is not enough, I have to reach this thing so that I can do something.
Even now, I strive, like when I listen to the ATEP lectures and everything, like, because of divorce, I lost a lot of money, in the divorce process and everything. And then, as I told, like, I was so depressed that two places say I got fired, literally. And then after mother two places, they were kind enough, they knew my situation and they told take a break and everything. I could not go back. I say, 5 jobs, I've been like out of 5 jobs. And that's when I thought I need to get a grip. Thank god, like my friend's aunt, who's a psychiatrist, that time, like I was between jobs, so in US you have to have insurance. I literally woke up from my bed like with skimpy hair, and I booked. She was kind enough to do a 1 hour consultation. In US, without insurance, consultation is also very expensive with a doctor. But she was kind, like, I sent a big message to her email. So she did 1 hour. She told, you have a lot of PTSD and CPTSD is there. And she told, like, okay, I will give this medication, go to your primary care physician and get these, because psychiatric visit, I was not getting appointment and everything, and like that. And I took some time to heal. Then keeps coming, but now also I have that bug कि prove करना ही है
And
ऐसे.
the thing is, Kiran, since you're in
It's
ATIPS and
exhausting.
TSM, you go into money and business constellation workshop, and there
Hmm.
in day 3, I guess Dr. Deka has conducted my constellation, and it was
Oh.
based on the same theme. I have to
Hmm.
prove. You just go
Hmm.
through it, maybe you'll find some connection there. But
Hmm.
I would primarily tell you that, no matter how much you try, it will never be enough. Because when we feel that we are never enough or we have to do something to gain that, we are not looking forwards. We are looking backwards.
Hmm.
We are looking
Makes
at the
sense.
back from that child's perspective who never got enough. And so, what if I accept that whatever my parents gave me, they gave me in the to the maximum, and that's all they can give me. Even if I, earn millions of dollars and throw all the riches of the world on their feet, they will still love me what they do. I know it's a very difficult realization and it's very overwhelming. It like chokes you from within. Because I still work on this wound of mine that I have to prove, but slowly and slowly I am getting more to it that it's okay. And the kind of exhaustion you are feeling, it's not because that you are just exhausted because of the circumstances. It is an internal exhaustion because you are trying to be someone who you are not. I mean,
Hmm.
exhaustion doesn't come when we do something which we feel comes naturally to us. Exhaustion comes because we are trying to be someone who we are not. You wanted to be that perfect child. You wanted to be that, woman of authority and that. And maybe you were not willing internally, desiring it. You were desiring it to prove it,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
exhaustion is that, and take your time, Kiran, take your time to breathe and truly introspect. What if there is no one in this world and no one is there to prove? What will I do for myself? This question was asked by Dr. Deka in the constellations to me, and you will find it in the recordings as well. That he asked me, "What if there is no one in this world? Absolutely no one, and I am the only one. You are the only one in this world. What will you do? Because then you don't have to prove. What will you do?" And this question, I keep on asking this question to myself, and I don't get the answer what I want, but I truly get the answer what I don't want. And through elimination method, I'm actually finding out who I will be.
Yeah. My therapist also told like those exercises, like she told like, what did you want to do as a child? My all the visuals that I get are like a woman of authority. This prove like my father after my medicine graduation, he pushed me to apply for IAS IPS exams. And I told him like कि मैंने मेरा path choose कर लिया है. Then he told like, no, doctors also become IAS IPS, you'll get a government job and everything. I was like कि that time I had little awareness that I don't have the capacity to be in government and deal with the officials. You need to be more street smart and whatever. I myself felt like I'm too naive. I believe everybody. I'll get बहुत जल्दी बहक जाऊंगी तो मुझे नहीं करना वो. I'm an emotional person. I'm like a help. I love medicine. Like I would love to, like, given a chance, everybody with no of these too much of red tape and documentation. US में बहुत they do a lot of documentation. As like I keep imagining, like, it's like see some 20, 10 patients every day, talk to them, and now with newfound knowledge of TSM, much से करो, that's enough. Oh, now that I'm talking, maybe this is what I want. I keep thinking, my therapist keep telling, what did you want? There were times when I felt like, oh, I should become a film
No, instead of
director. I should
take it other way, Kiran. If you are still struggling to find what you truly want, find out what you don't want. What you don't want in your current life. I mean, just like in
mm,
competitive exams, when we don't know the right answer, we eliminate the wrong answers and we eventually land up in the right answer, right?
mm,
So just
yeah.
be clear on what you don't want. Like you don't want to prove your father anymore. So whenever you take a decision, ask yourself whether I'm doing it for my father or I'm doing it for myself. Ask the
Mm,
intention, question your goal, question your intention, and maybe you will eventually find out your answer.
uh, Yesterday we had like a small reunion. Like some of my medical college classmates, they came to visit my city for a work conference. So we met. Both they were both guys, and they were talking. I never met their wives, respective wives. We all had to attend the conference here. So I asked them, like, okay, are your wives doctors and everything? The way they so lovingly they were talking about their partners, I was like, wow, in 6 years, my ex, who was so impressed that I'm a doctor, the smart person, never spoke. All he commented was like, कि तू मोटी बन रही है, तेरी ये है, तेरी वो है, you think you're smart. And I don't think my parents also spoke, at least in my, parents, I asked my parents, like, are you really proud of your kids? Do you really like, I asked my mother, like, do you really love your kids?
And
ऐसे
their answer would
मुझे
be
बहुत
very
तेज
different, Kiran. Their answer would be
yeah
very different now, what they have experienced at that point of time. Because
yeah
with time, when we grow as a child, our parents also grow. So at
yeah
that point, maybe they were not very proud of. They could not be proud of because you just being a daughter,
yeah true
right?
true
And this you have taken it personally. Look, I have. Maybe that is the reason why you want to prove yourself that being a daughter is also good enough.
mm,
So you have to see yourself, Kiran. You have to see yourself as a person. And the more you question them, the more you question your feelings instead of just diving into them. And it's okay if you dive into them, but it's not okay to stuck in it.
yeah
So question them that why I wanted to prove, because deep down somewhere I felt that being a female is not enough. And therefore I have to inherit all these masculine qualities to show
mm,
myself,
mm,
right? So it's I really feel it intuitively that when you will eliminate what doesn't work for you, you may find out what works for you.
yeah, that's a good idea. I will incorporate that. Yeah, because I at least for a month I keep questioning कि हाँ क्या करना है हाँ I have to listen to TSM. I am telling friends, and my friends, some people are ready. I have been doing the sessions, but not too enthusiastic. I won't say not enthusiastic, because the moment I take out the enthusiasm means I believe that's my personal like value with work, that you're not
And it's
considering the
not, you need
time.
not to limit it. You can use it because this helps you. Sure, Kamna, it was lovely having you. Thank you for being there. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
you can use this fuel in other parts because it helped you to such a lot extent that this desire to prove actually made you ambitious. So you need not to eliminate it. It's just you have to take it in a very different way. For example, for TSM, you just have to prove yourself that I can do
Mm.
it, right? And take it one step at a time. And maybe
Mm.
form a study group where you can just prove your knowledge. And in that moment, when you will do that, yes, the intention might be to prove myself, but it will make you in that gear, now you will be in that drill to study again. Because what
Mm.
is happening with you is that you are not this person who knows to stop and to pause and to rest. And so it
Yeah.
even this thing is becoming very unfamiliar. It's not that it is wrong, it is very much needed. But since it is unsettling you, so just take it in a different direction. That I will prove it to myself that I can do the course. And maybe form a study group. And there are like many people like me who also struggle to finish the course, and we can meet up and we can actually talk about our learnings and insights, and that way you will still find you are among the people, you are not left out,
Yeah.
right? So that will help you, I guess. It will.
Yeah, yeah. I do hope so. I do think that, yeah, I haven't. You won't believe, so many times I typed in the TSM Facebook group ki I don't know what's happening. Like last month or before that also, I texted some of my friends like, I feel like I'm not suicidal ideation. In a medicine, we are taught what is suicidal ideation and everything. It's like, but I feel like I just don't want to live. Yeah, like, what's the point? The constant theme that's been coming is like, what's the point? किसके लिए करना है? क्या ही करना है? ऐसा it's coming, but the desire is also there. Like, it's so there's so much of desire. I typed so many times in the TSM group, but I did not have the courage to post. I was like, it's okay. I have to write this long story. Then it felt like,
You
But
don't
when
why
you
even
am I
are
have
coming?
to do that,
Yeah,
Kiran. You don't have to
yeah,
do that. Come on, you can just be whatever you are.
yeah,
I know,
yeah.
I can understand from where it is coming and from where it is happening. But it's fine. We all are in our own journeys.
and
We all are in our own
in this
journey.
inner child healing course, Dr. Deka once said that, if you are looking for someone who had this secure attachment style, and who among us is, and he said that, he laughed out a lot and said that, then they are not here, because secured attachment people does not come in therapy. So we all have our own struggles, right? We all have faced those cruelties of life in a way no one else had, but yet our story is very similar in some way or the other to each one,
Hmm.
right? So it's not like I can vouch for this space, at least what Dr. Deka has created, that each one of us have come with a lot of baggage. And the only intention is to lighten it with every step. So you have your tribe with you. Just you have to look at them.
Yeah, yeah. I
Instead
do
of
read the
looking
code.
instead of looking backwards to see whom I have to prove, you have to look sideways. Who are there with you?
Yeah, yeah.
And you will come out of it, Kiran. It's just a matter of time.
Hmm. Thank you so
Often,
much.
the people who struggle the most are the people who change the fate of their entire family system because they heal the most.
Yeah, now
And
that
this
that
constant statement I have read in every book which I have studied till now. I mean, Dr. Deka suggests so many books, but whatever books I have read, this is the one common theme. And you will find it most in Dr. Gaber Mate's books, that the
hmm,
person who has suffered the most gives a new direction to the entire family system. So maybe you are meant for that. You're not meant to prove your things which you do not have, but rather you're there to change the fate of your entire system. And when you're changing the fate of your entire system, it is a huge responsibility. And you can only do it when you do it on yourself. You don't have to go and change everyone and heal everyone and, give them gyan. The only thing you have to do is you have to look within, because everyone is in your genes. Your entire family system is in your genes. And this I have seen practically in my life. The more I heal, I bring healing to my entire family system without even explicitly telling them anything.
hmm.
And this will happen to you as well, because you have endured the most pain. I mean, pain cannot be compared. Each one of
Yeah.
you would have done it. But maybe this is in this lifetime, you are destined to heal as well, right? So focus on
True.
the healing part. Focus on the finding out how and why. Drop this, what will happen, what is my goal. Drop all of it. Just focus on yourself. Focus on that inner child of you who wants to grow. Because it will
Hmm.
take a lot of burden from you. I mean, you will feel lighter in ways which I can't even describe, because the moment I have stopped, proving myself, things comes naturally to me. Things comes
Hmm.
with me with ease. It's not that I'm not exhausted, not burnt out, but not to a degree. that I was before. Like I know that this burnt out is for momentum. It's for just a moment and it will pass away. It's not that I'm severely depleted in my energy. Like
Hmm.
what is happening with you?
Hmm.
So just watch that constellation at least once.
Sure, sure. I'll check. Yeah,
That will resonate
definitely.
a lot with you.
Oh, sure, I will. Mm, yeah, definitely. I am still lacking because also each lecture is like like more than an hour, right? And quite triggering. I literally like watch it only for 10-15 minutes, like literally walk away from the laptop and then come back after an hour and then see taking it in bits and pieces. But yeah,
And it's
I
okay.
will watch.
Yesterday, Dr. Deka posted that live, in which he asked you to take it as slowly as possible for you. But I
Mm.
would recommend that you watch that constellation once.
Yes, sure, definitely.
It was on day 3, the first house.
Yeah, sure.
So that will maybe, the questions which Dr. Deka puts up will help you in one way or the other.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay? And thank you so much, Kiran, for sharing. It really means a lot.
Thank you for facilitating this space. Like, talking itself out. Like, I think 10 years ago, I came to US like 11 years ago. And when I was going through divorce, there was no space at all, like to acknowledge. And again, my parents are like, suck it up and like, no, now it's done. Padai karo again, get back into the work, and then we'll give you 1-2 hours, then start looking for rishta. My ex got married within like 4 months, 6 years of marriage. We got divorced, like our divorce did not was the shortest. 5 in 5 months we've decided the papers because at one point we both decided nahi hua. We had like little bit of mutual respect for each other and like, okay, I want peace. So I was like, whatever. I lost a lot, but I was like, okay, whatever. My parents told, okay, we'll consider this as something money can be made if you're not happy. They, I mean, at least my father supported. My mom did not. My mom still
You have a
thinks
lot of resentments for your
thinks
ex-partner
that
as well.
I only made mistakes.
No, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes.
Hmm.
The true point is, Kiran, are you willing to forgive yourself?
Yeah, that is main now. I think I forgave everybody. I am
And
struggling to
forgiveness is
forgive
not
myself.
meant for anyone else. We are no, whenever you forgive someone else, that means you are above them and someone is below you,
Hmm.
right? So forgiveness is not meant for anyone else. Forgiveness is meant for that younger self of you who did the best in
Hmm.
those circumstances with that knowledge. You
Hmm.
are judging her from this future self of yours,
Hmm. Yeah, this is a good perspective to think.
right? You are judging her because today you have much more knowledge and capabilities and much more understanding of what you have gone through. But understand what she was with that knowledge at that particular point of time.
Yeah, true.
So don't judge your younger self. I mean, what you are doing is when you essentially try to forgive someone, you are actually judging it.
Hmm.
And that judgment is not to be there, not for the other person and not for yourself. Accept
Hmm.
that your younger self, you did the best in those circumstances with that amount of knowledge. You didn't
Hmm.
know anything else. As a child, you didn't know anything else. The only way you thought that you will get your parents' love and approval when you will prove them. And that was it.
Hmm.
You only
Yeah,
knew
I
that
will.
by being silent in my marriage, I could calm down the situation. And that's what you do.
Hmm.
And that is okay. It was because you knew this that much at that point of time. You are you today because of those struggles and the learnings which you have received. But that doesn't discount the fact that these learnings were not there when you were going through those struggles.
Hmm.
Right? So forgiveness is for that younger self. Forget about your sister, forget about your ex mother-in-law, your husband, your ex-partner, your parents, your mother, your father. Forget about everyone else. Just focus on yourself. Are you willing to forgive yourself and know that, I did the best in those circumstances? And you don't need to prove anyone for it. Are you convinced with it without not judging your previous acts with your newfound knowledge today?
Mm.
You did it in the best of interest. You didn't want to harm anyone. You just wanted to get love. You just wanted to avoid fights. That's it. So can I just honor her for what she did rather than questioning her why you can't do this, why you can't do this? That forgiveness is for your own self. And the
Mm.
more you accept that you did the best in those possible circumstances, irrespective of what the other person is telling you will be
Mm.
free from this.
Mm.
Because then you will not be proving yourself.
Mm.
Because right now you have caught in this dilemma that, either I will prove that I did the best, or
Mm.
and sometimes you're proving it to your own self. And
Mm.
this new part of you is not convinced. She believes that no, you didn't do this. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have raised your voice. You should have gone against it. But the truth, but she did whatever she could. You did the best in your capabilities in those circumstances.
Mm.
Right? So forgiveness is for your own self. It's not for anyone. You don't need to forgive your ex-partner. You don't need to forgive your father. You don't need to forgive your sister. But you need to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll keep those in mind. I'll work on those and I'll watch the episode. That
Yes.
session.
Yes, you do. So. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ramya, Neha, would you like to share any of your points or your experiences?
Yeah, actually, I would say that stories might be different, but
Mhm.
emotions and the feelings, I mean, those are same only. Um, I'm already taking therapy from you, so I know how, I mean, my journey of healing started long way back. In my own ways, I found some kind of solace in spirituality. But like I was still not, there was one part that was stuck was I was not able to forgive myself for what I did. I was, I think, my own self-critique. No one has criticized me that badly except myself. And that was actually making all the things rather worse rather than improving it. It was making things worse despite my all the best efforts to improve the quality of my life, the way I, feel. And I, in my own way, I was doing all the possible things to make my relationships better. But, you know, but simultaneously, I was not forgiving myself. Simultaneously, I was criticizing myself for all the wrong things which I thought I did. And that was making it all the more. I mean, I was in a vicious cycle. So it was like you are taking one step forward and one step backward, and you are going
Right.
nowhere. Yeah.
Right.
So working with you, working with my inner child, at least that helped me let go of the chains with which I had,
Yes.
tied myself. वो एक मुझे perspective मिला, new perspective to be easy on myself, and to accept it's okay, whatever I did to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
So yeah, I think thank you so much. I really want to go more deep into this.
And Neha,
Yeah.
you are going on a beautiful journey, literally as well as metaphorically. So Kiran, Neha is a
Yeah.
very spiritually inclined.
Sneha, 1 minute. I need to. I will connect back once. I will have to leave the call. I
Okay,
will connect back. Yeah,
okay, no
1 minute.
worries.
Yeah.
Kiran, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I'm
So,
there. One. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I'm there.
so thank you so much, Kiran, for being there, for sharing your journey, and for taking out this effort to stay awake and be in this
Mhm.
session. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much for conducting the sessions. You did that challenge also. I think I attended only two Zoom sessions. One was inner child healing wala. You
Right,
did challenge, right? I
right.
signed up for all of those, but I think I could attend only two sessions. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Neha. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Kiran. And
Yeah.
I'm also thinking of starting a root chakra workshop. See if it helps you out. I mean, I planned it earlier, but then there were not enough people. So I had to cancel it, but I will be doing it again somewhere in the
Mm.
first week of July. Neha also wanted to join. In fact, Neha only signed up for that program, but then no one actually turned up, so I have to cancel that session. So
Mm.
if you could, do join it. If you can't take 1:1, as of now, or you're already taking 1:1 with anyone else, but do that root chakra workshop if possible for you, because I'm primarily focusing on womb healing and mother wounds. Right. So if possible, like we will be doing the recordings, but it will be great if you can come live and join me.
Mm.
This
Sure,
will,
definitely. I'll look into it. I'll think
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
I'm yet to
I
announce
keep
the dates, but
yeah.
if you just keep on practicing those exercises with those recordings, that will also help you release a lot. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
Neha, you were saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep finding
Yes,
is
Kiran.
Neha
Yeah.
there? Yeah, no, no. I'm telling, I keep signing up for these courses. Half of the time, like I miss ke. Oh, मैंने इतने sign के. I do Shruti's thing. I do Rudrani's. I signed up for her yoga thing. I just yesterday signed up for her gym session thing. But yeah, I have been thinking to do because I got some chakra study done because I have a lot of back pain. So somebody did this. What is it called, chakra sensing something, they told, like, again, yeah, because I'm struggling a little bit with the financial also, that prove, they told that the root chakra, strengthen your root chakra. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to look into it.
Yeah, Kiran, I can resonate with you because in our desperation to come out of it, we feel that signing up this course or that course might help us. But I have contemplated a lot on this. I was doing this mindlessly actually, and you know, spend a lot of money rather than getting the peace. I had put myself under the pressure of, coping up with all the knowledge or all the activities, those, what do you say, the programs I had enrolled in. That itself was making me more, uh, that was another pressure I had put on myself, apart from so many, things I am already facing, and to just heal from that, I had put that pressure on myself. Then, all that I did just to, because I am in a hurry. I would not say, but I'm working on that. I'm in a hurry or if everything to heal myself and to reach to a place where I get numb. In a way, I want to get numbed out of my feelings. I don't want to feel those emotions, sad emotions, and I'm feeling those mood swings so frequent. Mood swings, not like I'm not acting it out on others, but inside me only. That sometimes I'm in a very happy zone, joyful mood, and sometimes I'm just again doubting myself, criticizing myself. Uh, that was happening just because I am in a haste. I want to just do it on very quickly. So I had to really tell myself, I have to really tell myself that I have to just be in the present without thinking. I mean, about a lot about my healing journey, that when will I get the results? Rather, I have to focus on what, two things now I have stuck to. One is my spiritual journey, which I've already, I'm doing for the past 20 years. So that has been my anchor. I can't really leave that. And the second thing is Sneha's sessions. Because I closed my eyes. There were so many things. Like I am also attending Shruti's sessions, Dr. Gaurav Dekka's, and I was contemplating to get into ATEPs and even that TSM. And then I was also struggling with, had I lots of money, I had already enrolled in those, sessions, but I had to also look for my finances. So I just closed my eyes and then I thought, ki what, I mean, the experiential part of the all the sessions I had attended. I just closed my eyes and yeah, spirituality is the one that had given me a different perspective when the time I was contemplating suicide, that helped me to continue so long now in the space. And to more or less, I was managing well. No one outside this space and even my family members knows what I'm going through. If you, I mean, my workplace, no one would know what kind of, things are going in my head. They would not know. I was sharing all these things only in my very spaces where I feel very comfortable. And then, but there was deep inside longing to come out of it, and that desperation kept me going. Even I started criticizing myself कि this is the problem with me only, कि इतना करने के बाद भी spirituality आप में कुछ change नहीं आ रहा. जब भी मैं falter करती, घर में कुछ problem होती, I used to always criticize myself कि मैं time से नहीं उठ पाती, मैं अपनी practices को ठीक से नहीं कर पाती. यही होता है कि मैं करना तो बहुत कुछ चाहती हूँ, but I keep on faltering. I keep on, getting into the same vicious cycle. जो मेरा बचपन का cycle था, the same cycle as repeating in my marriage. But that understanding I got from Sneha's session. That understanding, and more or less what kind of behavior I was having towards my daughter, the the behavior, the same behavior I used to reject in my father. Actually, I was owning it up so nicely, and without even knowing that I am doing the same things I rejected in my father, and I'm doing the same thing with my daughter. And that was like a shocking thing. That was the realization. I was taken aback by, during the sessions, I got those glimpses where I could see how I am doing it so unconsciously, and that's the reason things are not moving forward for me, despite putting in so many efforts for my self growth, you can say. So I just closed my eyes and then thought कि कौन से sessions है, क्या चीजें हैं जिन्होंने मुझे experientially better feel कराया. So I could pinpoint only on these two things, and I mean two things which I thought I should continue doing it to know more about it, because since it's helping me a lot. And rest of the things as and when I can, I'm easy to do that. I will do as per my convenience, but I will not put another pressure on me to do this, that, and ultimately doing nothing. Ultimately doing nothing. So
Thank you,
that's my.
Neha, for putting this out. I'm just interrupting, sorry, but I want to put this out to both of you that, the reason we keep on doing courses of the courses just to increase our learning, enhance our learning is the number one reason is we want to prove ourselves that we are not missing out, okay? That we are good enough. It is one way or the other, we are consoling ourselves, convincing ourselves that, look, we are doing so much. But the truth is, we do not feel safe in whatever we have. We do not feel safe with our own capabilities. We are not confident with our own existing capabilities. And when we don't feel confident, it comes from the source of confidence we get from our parents. Because we never felt that confident in front of our parents. We never got that boost of confidence from our parents that, yes, you are well, you are doing good, you are enough. We never got that pat on our back, or we never got that congratulations or appreciation and acknowledgement. We are seeking it outside. And no matter how many courses we sign up, we'll not be able to do it because this comes from a space of desperation and graspiness. It is not coming from the joy of learning. It is coming from the state of desperation and graspiness. Oh, I have to this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So when you change your inner being, you bring safety inside, then you can actually assess what you truly want to do. And then you will not be doing it from the state of graspiness or desperation. Rather, you will be doing it from the state of joy of learning, from expanding your horizons, and that will change the entire energy. Right?
Yeah, I so much resonate with it. I'm glad that this thing came to me quite easily this time, because I think I was not that much into my emotional, turmoil. Otherwise, it would have taken me long to understand what I actually need right now. Initially, those last 15, 20 days, I got to hear so many things from Dr. Deka, this, that. And I called you also up for that course. You could see that I was so desperate. And then that realization came to my mind, for what I'm signing up these courses for peace of my mind. But right now, this thought only is giving me so much of anxiety, and then how will I manage so many things, so many sessions. And then there would be also pressure to imbibe all the learning from those sessions. And then I thought it's better to deep dive into what actually there is within. And this already, so much is already left for me to understand. So many things are, it's a new perspective I've got, inner child thing. इससे पहले तो पता ही नहीं था क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता. So I think अभी like you mentioned that for her also, you mentioned that you are merged with your mother so much, and the same thing you mentioned with me. एंड दैट्स एक्चुअली रियली ट्रू. अभी मुझे लग रहा है, अभी मैं बात भी कर रही थी तो मुझे लग रहा है मुझे मेरी मदर के साथ काम, अभी तो बहुत काम करना है. क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है मेरी जो भी इनिशियल प्रॉब्लम्स थी, पापा को तो मैंने डायरेक्टली रिजेक्ट किया, उनको तो डायरेक्टली उनके बिहेवियर को रिजेक्ट किया. अब मेरे को मेरी मदर के लिए एकदम से रिजेंटफुल बिहेवियर आ रहा था. अभी जब सेशन ही चल रहा था, आई वाज लिसनिंग टू हर, कि इन चीजों
Same,
के लिए
same.
कि अभी मुझे मेरी मम्मी पे ही गुस्सा आ रहा था कि कितनी, मतलब उन्होंने क्या बोलते हैं कि मतलब मैंने इतना पेन से निकली, और उन्होंने कभी ये भी नहीं सोचा, उन्होंने अपनी जान छुड़ाई कि मैं तो ऑलरेडी, मेरे पापा इतना, मेरे भाई की वजह से उनको इतना स्ट्रेस होता है, तो कोई बात नहीं, ये अपने आप मैनेज कर लेगी, ये अपने आप, मतलब मेरे को ऐसा लगता है, मुंह से तो नहीं बोला उन्होंने, पर उनके भी दिमाग में था कि कोई बात नहीं, ये तो अपने आप ही मैनेज कर लेगी. मेरी बड़ी बहन के लिए तो उन्होंने किया, बट मेरे लिए लगता था जैसे कि ये तो इसकी मदर इन लॉ तो है ही, ये देख लेगी इसके बच्चे को. कि मेरे को तो मेरे भाई का एडिक्शन इशू है, उसकी तो बहुत बड़ी मेजर प्रॉब्लम है, और मेरे पापा मेरे भाई की वजह से मेरी मम्मी को बहुत तंग करते हैं, और ये सब तो, और एक चीज को सुनना पड़ेगा, अगर मैं इसको भी घर ले आई, इसकी शादी से, इसको शादी में प्रॉब्लम है, तो इसको घर ले आई तो मुझे तो मेरी तो और जिंदगी खराब कर देंगे इसके पापा, मेरी तो जिंदगी और खराब हो जाएगी। तो इन अ वे मुझे तो मेरे ही हाल पर छोड़ दिया ना। जबकि आई टोल्ड यू दैट हॉस्पिटल वाला इंसिडेंट इतना स्ट्रांग है। जब मेरी बेटी हुई थी 2 दिन की थी और मेरा स्टिचेस में इतना पेन था, मुझे हस्बैंड से ज्यादा मेरी मदर को गुस्सा आ रहा है। पहले हस्बैंड पे आ रहा था कि मुझे इतना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है और मैं इतनी पागलों की तरह रो रही हूँ, इतना पागलों की तरह रो रही हूँ कि अगर मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि मैं अपनी मम्मी की जगह होती तो मैं उस घर में अपनी बेटी को एक दिन भी नहीं रहने देती, कि इतना। पर मेरी मम्मी के लिए उनका पेन इतना जबरदस्त था कि उन्होंने मेरे पेन को तो देखा ही नहीं। उन्होंने तो समझा ही नहीं कि इसके साथ हो ही क्या रहा है, कभी बैठ के पूछा भी नहीं कि बेटा तेरी जिंदगी में चल क्या रहा है यार, तू कैसे मैनेज कर रही है ये चीजें। कुछ नहीं पूछा उन्होंने, वो तो अपनी लाइफ में ही लगी हुई थी।
And Neha
मतलब
and Kiran, I would like to, sorry interrupting you again, but I would like to point it out to you. This grieving, this aggression is very important. आप यहाँ पर अब अपने आप को जज मत करना कि मैं अपनी मम्मी के लिए ऐसा कैसा सोच सकती हूँ, मम्मी इतना गुजर रही थी. Yes, it was her life. But this anger is coming from that inner child of you. Inner child का मतलब कोई बच्चा ही नहीं होता. 10 मिनट पहले जो भी आपने एक्सपीरियंस किया वो भी आपका इनर चाइल्ड का पार्ट हो जाता है. सो दिस अग्रेशन, दिस ग्रीविंग इज वेरी मच नीडेड, क्योंकि जब ये होगा ना उसके बाद ही एक्सेप्टेंस आएगा कि यस शी डिड दिस, शी डिड व्हाटएवर शी कुड, बट नाउ इट्स माय रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. सो नेहा, stay with this grief, and since you are going out on a journey of your own, stay with this grief, stay with this resentment. If needed, write down letters to your mother, even all the hatred and all the aggression and all the complaints you have for her, for not being there, for not listening to you, for not giving you a supporting hand. List down that and grieve it, like truly grieve it for the mother you never had. And this is for you, Kiran, as well. That grieve for it. Just do not coach yourself कि no, I cannot feel this for my mother, मैं ऐसा कैसे सोच सकती हूँ, ये कैसे कर सकती हूँ, मैं ऐसे selfish कैसे हो सकती हूँ. Do not brand yourself, do not judge yourself, rather grieve it that yes, my mother could not be there, and whatever her circumstances were, I felt left out, I felt hurt. You need not to show it to her, you need not to tell it to her, but you actually need to process it within yourself. क्योंकि जब तक ये रिसेंटमेंट, ये गुस्से की ये घुटन की लेयर नहीं हटेगी ना, तब तक आप अपने इनर बीइंग तक नहीं पहुंचोगे. So process this anger. The only way we do it in therapy is that we do it in energy space and we don't point out it to the person directly, क्योंकि बोलकर तो कुछ सिर्फ गिल्ट खुद को ही होना है वापस. क्योंकि हम अगर अपने पेरेंट्स को कुछ बोल भी दें और शायद हम आर्गुमेंट विन कर भी लें, बट देन गिल्ट तो अपने को ही होता है कि हमने क्यों बोला.
हाँ, अभी जो मैं उस स्टेज पे हूँ तो कि मैं बिल्कुल भी नहीं बोलना चाहूंगी अपने पेरेंट्स
नहीं,
को,
और
बिल्कुल
बोलना
भी
भी
नहीं।
नहीं है, हमें बोलना भी नहीं है, हमें तो बस अपने आप को संभालना है. एंड बाय सीइंग दैट पेन, बाय नोइंग एंड बीइंग अवेयर दैट यस माय पेरेंट्स वर नॉट देयर, I have to see them as human. Just because they have given birth to me, it doesn't mean that they have to be my 100% support. I have to, because the more you will start seeing your parents as human, Neha, for you especially, you will start yourself viewing as human for your daughter too. You'll not see yourself as mother who has to do so many things for her daughter and who couldn't do, and you will get into that mom's guilt. Rather, you'll be seeing yourself as a human, that yes, I did the best, I didn't have any support, I didn't have any support from my parents, my husband and my in-laws, and I was having so much of depression and so many anxiety and questions related to my marriage and my future, and still I brought up my child. You have to give credit to yourself for this. Whether your child appreciates it or not, that's a different issue. That is her journey. But for you, You have to integrate both the parts. You have to see yourself as human, and for doing that, you have to see your parents as humans too, who could falter, who could make mistakes, who could not give what they truly want to give or what you truly wanted to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, please continue, Neha. Sorry, I interrupted in between.
No, I think, yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, it's like every session I feel that I have reached somewhere, it's better.
Yes.
But I think emotion, I mean, it's quite deep. It won't go that easily.
Yes, it won't, Neha. And it's like a wave, you will sometimes sail high and you will feel all good about life, and then you will take a lower time, and then you will like, oh my god, there is so much of piled up things. I mean, there is so much pain, but it is only when you sit with your pain you truly evolve. There is a beautiful Disney movie, it's an animated movie, Inside Out.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that
Neha,
movie. Yeah.
yeah. So Neha, see that movie. See one, this Inside Out, and there is another movie known as Coco. That
What
is
what
of
what is it?
Coco, Coco.
Coco. Okay. Hmm.
You will able to resonate it with more, Kiran, because you are a part of TSN, and
Hmm.
view it and just see it, Neha. See this Inside Out and Coco. You can watch it. It's a small movie, not more than 2 hours, but then you will realize how important it is to sit
With our,
with our sadness, with our pain.
okay. Mm.
And life is not about being happy. Happiness comes when we're able to sit with our pain, our sadness, when we are able to honor who we are, because happiness is in the present moment. And we can only be in the present when we do not have any anxiety about the future and any regrets about the past. And when we are able to sit with our sadness, we drop that regrets of the past. And that is how we stay in the present moment. That is how we become at peace. That, even the circumstances outside us may not be very conducive, but I can be with myself. So, Neha, since you are at this cusp of feeling resentful, feeling complaints for your mother, I would appreciate that you stay with this. एंड अभी जो आप 1 वीक का ब्रेक ले रहे हो, इसमें तो आप पूरी तरह से इसी में एब्सॉर्ब हो, एंड यू विल कम आउट ऑफ इट, because the more you will grieve, the more you will be able to let go of it.
Mm.
Hmm? So do that. And Kiran, you also work on your relationship with your parents from that child's point of view, not from today's kid. Because if you keep rejecting your parent, if you keep judging them, you will keep judging yourself, you will keep rejecting yourself.
I want to also tell one thing,
Yeah, please,
Sneha,
Neha.
that made me realize अभी संडे को फादर्स डे था,
Hmm.
and you know how much I feel sad, so, bad for my brother for what my father has done to him. I think मेरा brother कोई भी कुछ spiritual और ये सब कुछ भी नहीं करता. He doesn't do anything of that sort. और वो medication पे है for now more than 30 years, I think. Antidepressants और वो सब off and on he takes drug. मतलब substance abuse वगैरह भी करता है. मतलब why I'm giving all this as a background, because वो ये सब कुछ नहीं करने के बावजूद भी मतलब मेरा जो take है of my father, of how he has behaved with my brother, वो एकदम अलग लेवल का है. और मेरे ब्रदर का उसके साथ जो हुआ वो एक अलग लेवल का है मेरे फादर के साथ. तो वो उस दिन मेरे पापा के पास गया, वो लेकर केक लेके फादर्स डे विश करने के लिए, और वो केक कट कर रहे हैं एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ। मैं यही सोच रही थी कि मेरी तो कोई, उसकी तो कोई ऐसी हीलिंग जर्नी नहीं हुई, उसको भी पापा से इश्यूज थे, रिजेंटमेंट थी, पर मैं अगर उसकी जगह होती और मेरा अगर वैसा बैकग्राउंड होता, नो हीलिंग, नो स्पिरिचुअलिटी, इस तरीके की कोई सेंस नहीं होती, तो मैं तो अपने फादर को इतनी जल्दी माफ नहीं कर पाती, या तो मैं तो उनके साथ ऐसे कभी बैठ के उनको फादर्स डे विश नहीं कर पाती, या मैं ऐसा नॉर्मल नहीं हो पाती जो भी उन्होंने मेरे साथ किया होता अगर मैं अपने भाई की जगह होती। तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा कि मेरा जो परसेप्शन है या मेरा जो टेक है वो तो बहुत ही अलग लेवल का है, जबकि ऐसा डायरेक्टली तो मेरे साथ तो कुछ कभी हुआ ही नहीं। मेरे फादर ने तो आज तक मुझ पे हाथ भी नहीं उठाया, और शायद डायरेक्ट कभी गुस्सा भी नहीं किया, मुझ पे चिल्लाए भी नहीं है डायरेक्ट तो कभी आज तक। वो जो होता था मेरे आसपास होता था, या तो मेरी मम्मी पे होता था या मेरे भाई पे होता था, या जितनी भी जबरदस्ती कुछ प्रोफेशन को लेके ये नहीं करो वो नहीं करो, वो सब तो मेरी बड़ी बहन ने कर लिया, झेल लिया, उस पे रेस्ट्रिक्शंस थी। हम तक पहुंचते पहुंचते तो बहुत चीजों को लाइटली लेना शुरू कर दिया था मेरे टाइम तक, तो डायरेक्टली मुझे तो ऐसा कभी किसी ने कुछ नहीं कहा मेरे फादर ने। पर मैंने तो बहुत ही अलग लेवल पे चीजों को परसीव किया, ये तो बहुत ही अलग लेवल पे मैंने उनको इतना इन डेप्थ ले लिया, पता नहीं क्यों।
तो नेहा, अंडरस्टैंड, एवरीवन हैज अ डिफरेंट जर्नी, एंड मैं जर्नी की बात कर रही हूँ, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द सोल्स जर्नी, राइट? Maybe your brother, I'm just giving a possibility, it may not hold true, that maybe your brother had understood love as, by getting scoldings from father, कि जब पापा मुझ पे गुस्सा करते हैं एक तरीके से मुझ पे अटेंशन दे रहे, इवन नेगेटिव अटेंशन इज अटेंशन फॉर अ चाइल्ड. So maybe it is his perception, or maybe he is in his soul journey where he had already resolved these issues. He doesn't have this abandonment wound. Maybe he is also atoning for some of your ancestors, and this is his soul journey, what he is experiencing, and maybe because of his substance abuse and all, that he is actually numbed out. It is a possibility that he is numbed out and he doesn't know what he feels.
Yeah, quite
But
possible.
that doesn't discount the fact that you are on a different soul's journey, and you have actually come to a point of awareness, and you are looking at him from the lens of awareness,
Hmm.
right? So it doesn't make you somewhere any wrong or some having a different perception, or maybe मेरे साथ तो नहीं हुआ फिर भी मैं ऐसा सोच रही हूँ. It's not about that. It's just that you are becoming informed, you are becoming trauma informed, you are having that lens to see things for as they are, and it is a good position to be, rather than being numbing out and not being aware of your own emotions.
Hmm.
राइट? और शायद उनके लिए वो चल जाता होगा, आपके ब्रदर के लिए वो लाइफ एक्सेप्टेबल होगी उसे, आपको नहीं थी ना एक्सेप्टेबल, आपके लिए वर्क नहीं कर रहा था, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू स्टार्टेड प्रूविंग इनवर्ड्स. मे बी इट इज एक्सेप्टेबल टू हिम, एंड मे बी इट विल टेक अनदर लाइफ टाइम्स टू रीच टू अ पॉइंट ऑफ अवेयरनेस, बट अंडरस्टैंड वो सोल की जर्नी तो वही है,
Hmm.
दैट आपको वो स्ट्रगल्स देखने होंगे और आपको एक पॉइंट आना होगा अवेयरनेस पर. वो अवेयरनेस के बाद ही वापस आप सोल की जर्नी के सोर्स तक पहुंचते हो. Before that, you can't reach the source. So basically, because of your spiritual practices, you have accelerated your journey and you have reached to your awareness level. Or maybe it was the spiritual practices of your lifetimes, not even this single lifetime. So understand that you are any day at a better place because you are aware. क्योंकि एक बार आप aware हो गए तो you can't be unaware of it. You will see it in every relationship dynamics, not even yours, but even your students, your friends, everywhere. तो एक बार जब आपने अभी अपने मदर का ग्रीफ फील कर लिया ना, तो अब आप इसे अनफील नहीं कर सकते. इट्स लाइक यू हैव get inside an ocean, now the only way out is to swim again. You cannot stay there. You will not stay there. You will come out of it. But the thing is, the depth differs for every person,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know where your brother is in his journey, and I can never
Mm.
tell. But understand that you are reaching to your source again. You are on the right path. And it may take him some lifetimes to reach where you are today. And that is his fate. It's not that he's lagging behind, that is his fate. We have to honor this fate. And we have to also honor our fate.
Yeah, that makes so much of sense.
Right?
I mean, how come the whole perspective gets changed after talking to you? I mean, I don't know.
So it's more about, I don't have anything special. It's just that I'm able to connect at times with my inner self. I'm not in constant connection, so I even have a long way to go. But the more you connect with your inner self, like you said, Neha, that
It,
you are able to find out whether you want to pursue the course or not. You got the answers from within, right? So that was the only way that you connected with your inner self. So the more you keep on healing parts of you, basically inner self है ना वो बहुत pure है. It's like
mm,
that, the purest thing in the world. But what happens is pure के ऊपर एक layer चढ़ गई.
mm,
And as things happen with us, we start having some beliefs about us, and these are known as core beliefs in our language, but it is basically these are the various layers we keep a layer of aggression, keep a layer of being not worthy, we keep a layer of rejection, and all these layers. So the more you remove these layers, you connect with. Thank you,
mm.
Neha, for thank you, Kiran, for joining. I know it's very
Yeah,
late.
it's 3:15 now, so I have to wake
Oh,
up early and go to work by 8 o'clock. So I would have loved
Thank
to
you.
continue talking. Thank you so much, Neha, for facilitating this, and thank you, Neha, for sharing your journey.
yeah. Take care, Kiran. Thank you.
Thank you, same to you. All the best. All the best
All
to
the
you too,
best,
Neha.
Kiran. Take care.
Yeah, take
Yeah,
care.
I
Bye.
think we have
Bye.
already
Mm.
quite exceeded the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Neha, you are
Okay then.
just
Bye.
removing the layers, Neha.
yeah.
Okay. And the more you remove, you will connect to the elbow. So it's like, you have pierced a needle and you have connected to one part of it. And the more you keep on work, the layers will be removing and you will be able to connect with your inner self better. And then there will come a point of time when you will be your inner self. जो हम बोलते हैं ना नर में नारायण होता है तो वो आप नारायण से जुड़ जाओ.
Hmm.
अब वो इसी लाइफ टाइम में होगा या आगे लाइफ टाइम्स में होगा ये सब कहना मुश्किल है बट अंडरस्टैंड जितना आप जुड़ोगे तो आगे की जर्नी इसके आगे की होगी यू डोंट हैव टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम स्क्रैच अगेन
Yeah.
right so the more you connect like what Sadhguru has experienced or there are few other elite beings as well like there is one Ram Sukdas ji was there. So they have actually connected to their inner self. They have not gone anything else. तो जब आप वो inner self connect करते हो ना अपने आपके सारे चक्रास अलाइन हो जाते हैं आपका इंट्यूशन स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाता है यू हैव दैट इनर विजडम विद इन यू बेसिकली वो फिर डिवाइन विजडम आता है लाइक जो अभी मैं जितनी बातें कह रही हूँ ना अगर कॉग्निटिवली मुझसे पूछोगे तो शायद मैं इतनी बातें बोल भी नहीं सकूंगी बट व्हेन यू स्टार्ट
Hmm.
बीइंग इनटू दैट एनर्जी वो डिवाइन चैनलिंग होने लगता है like you also had that moment when you had this strong impulse to connect with that parent
Hmm.
right you would have never done it but the impulse was so strong that you connected with her and she also vibrated at that energy level and she took it very positive तो वो
Yeah.
basically आपके थ्रू एक divine channeling हुई it wasn't you at that moment it was your higher self that prompted you to take this action to show it to you that you have in you to change the world by changing. ये हर किसी का ask नहीं होती है. You know so many people in your life that they are so happy in their lives. They do not want to change the world. They do not want to contribute to the world. And they are happy and they are doing well and that is okay. It's just that they have not reached at that life path.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Uh, Thank
Anything
you.
else, Neha?
Yeah, Abhi, just this is regarding Saima's session.
So let me
So,
stop the recording, Neha.